state of Georgia is represented by USA campaign Assistant District Attorney Jenny Parker as well as Detective Marion Williams. Is the state ready to proceed?
State is ready.
Is the defense ready to proceed?
The defense is ready, Your Honor. At this point in time, the defense is ready.
Man, Leilani got fat as shit, didn't she? I hope they fix this sound. Hold on, man. Let's see. But Leilani Simon got fat as shit. Hold on. Let's see here. Terrible audio. Let's see. WJCL has, let's see. WJCL. Man, that's wild, right? Let's see if, here we go. I know that one of them started early. They weren't supposed to. There was supposed to be like a 30-minute wait on this fucking thing. Let me pull up chat here.
Alright, guys.
Hope you guys all doing good, man. I hope you guys all doing good. We're gonna be covering this Leilani Simon trial, man. Hope you guys are all having a fantastic day. As you guys know, I'm thejbgunner. This is Crime Time. Let me see if they fixed the sound yet. They still have not fixed this goddamn sound. Leilani got fat, though, didn't she? We're still waiting on some of the other places. What's up, Denny? Long Crime has it live now? All right. Yeah, I know. We're watching it. I've been watching it, Teresa. I'm waiting on their sound to get better. I look at her. She's about to break down now. Leilani is about to break down now. Why wouldn't you be welcome, Teresa? Why the hell wouldn't you be? Why wouldn't you be? Of course you're welcome. Yeah, I wish they would fix this fucking sound. I wish Court TV would go live or one of these other ones. So I guess we'll wait on the sound to get fixed or one of the other ones, one of the other streams to go live. A little too late for tears. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think she murdered her kid, man. I think she threw the baby away. I think the child probably died due to her neglect. Son of a bitch. All right, let's see if we can find it. Give me 1 second. Let's see here. It shouldn't be that hard, really, when you really think about it. Law and crime is just shitty right now. Law and crime is just shitty right now. Let's see if they got it over here. Oh, here we go. Let's see. Here we go. See that? I don't like that. That sounds too low. So let's go to their YouTube channel, WTOC. WTOC. News Live.
Thank you for being here. I know last week wasn't easy, and starting out your week like this doesn't make it easy.
Let's see here. Here we go. Let's see if they got it. So here she is. The child still died on her watch. Yeah, but that's not murder, dog lover. That's not murder, though. Neglect is completely different from murder. I mean, I understand what you're saying. What's up, Sarah? I understand what you're saying, but it's still not murder.
All right, ladies and gentlemen,
I'm going to try to find a louder feed in just a second. They're going to be doing the opening statements in just a second.
Oh, my.
One of the jurors is missing.
Ma'am, you come on down. Thank you, Mr. Heard, for noticing that.
Yeah, man. The fucking law and crime is shit.
Good morning. Okay, let's do that.
What's up, Berlin? Yeah, I mean, that's what I think happened. I don't think she, just murdered her. I could be wrong, though. What's up, Berlin? Can you guys hear it at all? Hey, what's going on, Sean? How you doing, brother? Right now, we're having audio issues on every feed. What's up, Miss Kitty? How you doing, Miss Kitty? Thank you for hitting the tip jar, by the way. God, she got fat. What's up, Baya? How you doing? She got fat, man. LEILANI Simon got fat. Let me know if you guys can hear it.
Start right away. The first thing I'm going to do is give you some preliminary instructions. I have asked the bailiff to provide you with
what we need.
pads for your use during trial. You may take notes, but you are not required.
Can you turn closed caption on? Yeah, I can.
to take notes.
Here, look, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna
Divert you from paying full attention to the evidence and evaluating witnesses' credibility.
that's not showing up though.
Actions of the witness during their testimony can be vital to your determination of the believability of their testimony. The notes until you retire.
Let me see if I can find it. Court TV. Court TV should have a feed.
Remembering what you
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
think.
Here we go.
Let's do that.
Hell yes. Hell yes. There we go.
You shall well
There we go.
the issues formed upon this bill of indictment between the state of Georgia versus LEILANI Marie Simon, who is charged with the offenses of malice murder, felony murder 2 counts, concealing the death of another, false report of a crime, making false statements 14 counts, and a true verdict give according to the evidence, so help you God. Please respond with I will.
I will.
You may be seated.
All right, we should have this all right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get
There we
started
go.
right
We
away.
got it better
The
now.
first thing I'm going to do is give you some preliminary instructions. I have asked the bailiff to provide you with pens and notepads for your use during trial. You may take notes, but you are not required to do so. If you decide to take notes, please remember that note-taking should not divert you from paying full attention to the evidence and evaluating witnesses' credibility.
I'm gonna try to make
Your
this better.
observations of the witness during their testimony can be vital to your determination of the believability of their testimony. The notes until you retire, the notes are there to assist you in remembering what you have.
There we go.
And I'm taking a look.
All right, now we got it all. We got it all together now.
Notes need to be a little bit different from what they are.
Man, this is gonna be a brutal trial. Like when you think about it, 14 counts, boy, they had all kinds of shit.
All right.
Thank you, Kitty, by the way.
So this is a wonderful way to start out. We're going to take already a 5-minute break.
Son of a bitch, we just started.
Okay, so you take the jurors to the deliberation room.
Son of a bitch. She has street clothes. Sit down, Steve G. Yeah, well, here's the truth. Is most trials you get to wear suits and street clothes. So yeah, Steve G complaining about that shit is goofy, right? We're gonna be on Sharkeisha time. That's why I forgot it is the Sharkeisha judge. Man, she looks downsy as fuck. She looks downsy as fuck. We will be going live some point over on the live stream channel, the other one, but I have no clue how long it's going to take.
5-minute break. The court is to refer to her notes and to essentially read from the notes.
Judge has to take a shit.
I didn't realize until now. So we'll be back in 5 minutes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Recess.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks already. Already taking a break. What's up, sweet and salty? She looks doped up. I just think she looks kind of retarded, if you want to know the truth. I don't think she's doped up. I mean, she might be, though. Jail be getting... The truth of it is, man, jail will give you, there's this, I can't remember what the shit that they give you. Like, you can, almost everybody be on it, though. I don't take drugs, so, like, for me, I was never on it. But there's, like, this shit that keeps a lot of people in jail just in a complete trance. And they'll give it to almost anybody. And the reason that they'll give it to almost anybody is because it keeps them calm. And if you're calm and zombied out, you're less likely to be involved in fights and whatever the fuck else there is, right? It's just kind of the truth. Guys, I do want to say something. Seroquel, yeah, that's what it is, Seroquel. That's absolutely right, Teresa. Guys, I want to say something, though, before we get back to the trial. I want to show y'all something. As you guys know, I did an audience IQ test on my channel. I started off with, if someone confesses to a crime, is it probable, likely, or unlikely that they committed the crime? Now, you guys know I already did a video on this, so I'm not going to do it again. And as I told you, 19% of the people said, hey, even if you confess, I don't believe you. And I knew that about them same numbers would fall for this one. And this should show you exactly what you need to know in the true crime community. IQ test number 2. Which of these 2 ice cream flavors do you prefer? Vanilla or chocolate? This is a very straightforward question. Which of these 2 flavors do you prefer? Vanilla or chocolate? 21%, the same 20%, didn't answer the question. They couldn't follow the simple directions. Oh, but yeah, but you're failing. I don't care if we have a difference of opinion on Delphi. But I want you to see this. The same 20% that's, we haven't even discussed Delphi. The same 20% down here that if their husband came home and said, baby, I've been cheating, they're like, nah, that's unlikely. I highly doubt it. The same 20% couldn't answer which of these 2 ice cream flavors do you prefer, vanilla or chocolate. I told you they're all contrarians. I'm telling you now, I believe there's something wrong with them. I believe there's something wrong with them. It's like an SAT question. Yeah. You know, and listen, to the people that are of the 20%, the snackers, snack kickers, they didn't read or comprehend the question. That's exactly right. And I put 2 things in the question. I even capitalized the word, which of these 2 do you prefer? Vanilla or chocolate? I did not ask you or anybody else if they liked something else. I did not. All I did was put a 3rd little answer in the thing. But my question was still straightforward. Because I knew that the same 20% that are like, nah, man, confessions don't mean you kid, you likely did it. The same 20% would have trouble answering a simple question like vanilla or chocolate. 2 is the key, yes. And I said to myself, if these numbers line up, it proves my point. That the 20%, well, the people that are lactose intolerant should just not answer the question. Because the answer would be, the answer for them would be to just not answer the poll. Because the question was really straightforward. Ultimately, though, I knew the number would be, and if you look at the comments and you see the comment I wrote and pinned right after it happened, I said, watch the same 15 to 20% be the contrarians here. You know what I'm saying? You know, I knew it would be that way. And so what that tells me, exactly, Sarah, what that tells me, by the way, I'm still waiting on them to come back, and we'll get back to the trial. What that tells me is that there's a group of about 20% of the people that are in this true crime community that will take the contrarian answer no matter what. Those same people probably believe that everybody's innocent, the cops set everybody up, nobody is guilty, and that is the reason for the question. The same people that are like that will hear a question like, hey man, vanilla or chocolate, which do you prefer? And then they are like, well, no, neither one, I don't want to like any of them. And it's like, come on, man. Stop it. Stop it. I was comments that said, I like mint chocolate chip, but that wasn't the question. What your favorite, I never asked you what your favorite ice cream was. That was just like with the confession question. I never mentioned Richard Allen or Delphi. But they're so mentally wrapped up in this shit. They're like, oh, he said confession. He must mean Delphi and Richard Allen. And so they answered that question knowingly wrong, just so it supported their Richard Allen argument. Just saying. And so, like, when I saw that and my exact prediction came to be true, not guilty after I said I did exactly. What it tells me is that there's a group of people, about 20%, that whenever they see something, they're contrarian. They have to go outside the box. No matter what, they have to, hey man, what color's the sky? All of us would say blue. Those types of people are like, well, it's not technically blue if you blah, 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 blah. Shut your ass up. You see what I'm saying? Like the normal Occam's razor simplified answer, they don't roll with. They just don't roll with it. And it's crazy. And it's something I've noticed about the true crime community since I first started doing this shit, right? Since I first started doing this shit. Not guilty after I said I did. Yeah. And that's the thing. Imagine asking them if they want what they want for dinner. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. And that's exactly how it would go. And so, like, for me, when I'm looking at that type of shit, I got this vanilla ice cream. Yeah. When I'm looking at that type of shit, I'm hoping that it'll show some of them. I'm hoping it'll show some of them that they're contrarian just to be contrarian, and maybe they'll come get their shit together. But it won't. What's up, KD? It won't get them that way at all. They don't, because crazy people don't realize they're crazy. Crazy people don't realize they're crazy. And here's the thing. A lot of those people, I bet you, when I was talking about the nut jobs in the true crime community, they thought it was everybody but them. Because if you ask those people, they agree with me that the true crime community is filled with nut jobs. But they just don't think they're one of them. They just don't think they're one of them. So, good morning, Kitty. Hope you're doing good. Thank you, by the way. Thank you. Yeah, they started and then they took a break immediately. They took a 5-minute break immediately. So, kind of is what it is, I guess. What's up, KD? How you doing, brother? Just don't give them choices for dinner, sir. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, and yeah, I'm still sick, by the way, so sorry. I've been sick for fucking over a week now. But I wasn't going to miss this I wasn't going to miss this. And this trial, the Richard Allen trial, will not be televised. Thank you, Kitty. The Richard Allen will not be televised like this. So we won't be doing that one. But I'll be keeping you guys updated on Richard Allen, though. What I do know is that the serial killer, the Gilgo Beach serial killer, whatever the fuck he is, that starts this month, too. We got a lot of trials starting this month. It's an exception to the rule, JB. Not the crazy, they're smart. Yeah, no, exactly. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. And by the way, I'm not saying that people that think that Richard Allen's innocent are crazy. But what I am saying is that when someone confesses and then you act like it's the norm, like the people that say Richard Allen confessing makes him, he's not guilty. I understand if you're saying this particular case, but when I ask a question, is it likely or probable that a confession means you're guilty? And these tards are like, nah, man, it don't mean that. No. You see what I'm saying? Likely. If your man comes home and says, honey, I gotta tell you the truth, man, I've been cheating. Is it likely or probable at least? Is it probable or at least likely that he's telling the truth? I'd say yeah, because who the fuck would confess to cheating unless they've been cheating? It makes no goddamn sense. None. We're still waiting on these motherfuckers to come back. Thank you, dog lover. I want a taxpayer's dime, yeah? Well, trials have to happen. So more than likely, yeah. And I'm willing to say probable. You know what I mean? I'm willing to say a confession makes it probable that you did it. Because I'll tell you now, I ain't confessing the shit I didn't do. I'm not confessing the shit I did do. No bullshit. And I'll give you another example. Look, man. I don't know if they have enough to convict Brian Kohlberger. But if Brian Kohlberger signs a plea that he can't appeal and says, all right, man, I did it, then he did it. If he says he did it and signs the plea, which you cannot appeal a plea bargain, to me, that means the motherfucker did it. At that point, I think they're backed in the corner sometimes by law enforcement and hungry. Yeah, but that's still a rarity, right? That's still rare, Catherine. All I'm saying is if somebody confesses something to you, is it likely or probable? Most of us are like, yeah, he's probably telling the truth, right? It's strange for someone's first thought to be like, oh man, somebody must have forced him to confess. Trust me, I've been in jail. I've been in prison. We ain't about to tell you motherfuckers shit unless it benefits us and we did it. I'm just being honest. It's not happening. It's just not happening. It's rare, is the point. Rare. You know? I think that the statistic I read was like 1.2% of confessions are under duress. 1.2%. That means 90 or false confessions. That means 99% of confessions were real. We're accurate. Here we go. Let's go. We're waiting.
Counselor at your tables. Ms. Simon is at the...
Wish they'd fix the goddamn camera. There we go.
Attorneys, let's please bring in the jurors.
Here we go. That bitch needs some hair. I bet it's the drugs. LEILANI Simon isn't probably getting drugs and shit. Stick to your lie. Upgrade. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly, brother. What's up, bro? Yeah, I'm sick as shit, Kitty. Well, she got fat as shit. Chunky bitch. I mean, she's still cute, but chunky as fuck. I mean, I don't know if cute's the right word. She's kind of Down syndrome-y, but you know what I'm saying.
All right, thank you. As you come to your seats,
Look at
please
the-
feel free to have a seat. And let the record reflect that all the jurors have been seated. We'll now move into the preliminary instructions. Before I do that,
Exactly, Kitty.
there was a juror who didn't make it out for the first swearing, and I just wanted to ask you the question that I've asked everyone else. Have you done any research? Have you talked to anyone about the case? Have you watched any news media? Okay, so you've been able to follow the court's instructions to not discuss this
yeah.
case with anyone, nor do research.
I think a public
Thank you very
defender,
much. And your number? Okay, and that is juror number 7.
which means she's fucked.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, moving on, I'm going to get back to the pens and notepads that you have for your use during the trial. You may make notes, but you're not required to do so. If you decide to take notes, please remember that note-taking should not divert you from paying full attention to the evidence and to evaluating witness credibility.
Denny.
Your observations
I'm gonna
of
give her the
witness
benefit of the
during
doubt
their
right now, though.
testimony can be vital to your
I
determination
gotta wait till I hear
of the
some shit.
believability of their testimony.
Yes, sir. They said she did. She dumped
The
her.
notes that you
dumped her in
take
the
are for your
dumpster.
use only and are not to be shared with anyone until you begin deliberation with your fellow jurors. During deliberation, you should rely on your own recollection of the proceedings, but you may consult the notes of other jurors if you wish. Do not be influenced by the notes of others unless their notes help you in determining your own independent recollection. Notes are not entitled to any greater weight than the recollection or impression of each juror as to what evidence it may have been presented. After the trial is over, the notes will be destroyed and they will be collected and destroyed. And at this time, please write your name on the front sheet of paper in the pad and make no further notes on the front sheet. That way, no other person can see your notes.
Well, that's good
It cannot
camera
be
work.
seen by another person.
Exactly,
The law requires
sir.
that
Exactly.
you decide this case solely on evidence presented in this courtroom. This means that
Exactly. All them fat women was outside her house protesting.
during the trial, you must not conduct any independent research about this case, the matters in the case, or any individuals involved in the case. In other words, you should not consult dictionaries
Agreed,
or
John.
reference materials, search the internet, websites or blogs, or use any other electronic tools to obtain information about this case or to help you decide the case. Please do not try to find out information from any source outside of the confines of the courtroom, to include media of any sort or online research. The bailiffs have been instructed to collect your
Hey,
cell
Andrew.
phones, tablets, and laptops during the proceedings. You may want to leave those.
Good
in
to
your
see you,
vehicle.
Andrew.
If they collect them, they'll be sure to give them back to you at the end of the day and on breaks.
Thank you, brother.
Until you retire to deliberate, you may not discuss this case with anyone, even your fellow jurors.
Well, we gotta see if she killed her baby, for God's sake, man. I'll watch you on the replay. Have a good one. Later on, Andrew. Good to see you, brother.
After you retire
Great
to
channel,
deliberate,
Andrew Myers.
you may begin discussing the case with your fellow jurors, but you cannot discuss the case with anyone else until you have returned.
It's a good question about her
and the
mother.
case is at an end. I hope that for all of you, this case is interesting and noteworthy. I know that many of you use tools or technology in your daily life, but you may not do so in connection with your service as a juror. You also must not talk to anyone about this case or use electronic tools to communicate with anyone about the case.
Agreed, Dog.
This includes your family members and friends. You may not communicate with anyone about the case or your jury service via internet.
Just real quick, my prediction on all this is that she neglected her child. That's what led to the death. I don't find this to be murder. I think she's going to be found not guilty of murder.
Use any social networking website.
It's just my prediction.
Anything about this case.
Unless they got some new shit
Stress
we ain't seen
enough that communication via electronic devices is prohibited.
70.
So at this time, you may seat in any of the seats in the jury box during the trial. During the voir dire process, we ask that you sit in specific seats for identification purposes. However, there is no need to do so during the trial itself. If you need anything while in the jury room, you may knock at the door to notify the bailiff that you wish to communicate with the court. I would then give you instructions on how this should be done, depending on the stage of the trial and the nature of the request.
I don't recall that.
So I'm going to give you an overview.
That would be crazy.
Criminal law and trial procedure that will apply in this case.
Exactly, Pixie.
Framework. A crime is a violation of a statute of this state in which there shall be a union or joint operation of act and intention. That is, a crime is committed when a person violates a statute of this state by acting as prohibited, while at the same time he has a criminal intention and no other defense excuses the conduct. A person will not be presumed to act with criminal intention. However, the jury may find such intention upon the consideration of words.
Yeah, it's been 2 years. You might be right.
Demeanor, motive, and all other circumstances connected with the act for which the accused is prosecuted.
Yes, Will.
The state cannot bring a person accused of a felony to trial unless the grand jury has first indicted that person. Grand jurors do not try criminal cases. They ordinarily only hear from witnesses for the state. When a criminal case is tried, the defendant has pled not guilty to the indictment. This plea of not guilty denies every essential allegation of the indictment and forms the issue or the question that you as a trial jury will decide. The indictment and the plea of not guilty to it are not evidence, and you should not consider them as evidence. Every person is presumed innocent until proved guilty. No person shall be convicted of a crime unless each element of the crime is proved beyond a reasonable doubt. The state has the burden to prove each essential element of each crime charge.
Agreed, Pixie.
Beyond a reasonable doubt. In this state, a defendant on trial may or may not testify as she chooses.
It's a good point, Sarah.
If she does testify, you would judge her credibility by the same test applied to any other.
I just want to throw this out there. Imagine you accidentally kill your kid died because of you neglect because you were high. What would you do? What would you do? I'm not saying what she did was right at all, under any circumstances. I'm saying if you were in that position, which I believe she was in, that her neglect led to an accident that killed the kid, what would you do in that moment? If you're on probation, high, all of this shit, I might have done exactly what she did. Like if one of my children died because I was so goddamn drunk I didn't do right, you know what I mean? I might do the same thing. I ain't about to call the police and be like, guess what I just did? I was drunk and my kids killed or dead. I wouldn't do it. I distance myself. That's true.
In a case from which the evidence and reasonable
possibly swimming pool
arising from the evidence. I'm going to say that again. I don't think
I'd phone my doctor and the cops. Yeah, and I mean, there's no benefit that can come out of that if he's dead.
To decide the facts in a case from the evidence.
I definitely wouldn't throw him in the dump.
Arising from the evidence. In reaching
I hear you. I'd bury him too.
You also have the duty to apply the law to those facts. You decide the facts from the evidence.
Exactly, Upgrade.
Has two parts: testimony of witnesses
and
exhibits. A witness means anyone who testifies in person from the stand. The exhibits are those documents, objects, or photos
take responsibility.
That the court admits into evidence. You will have most of the exhibits with you in the jury room.
Who said you wouldn't be taking responsibility? Man, I don't owe the goddamn cop shit. That ain't the way shit works. Me turning myself in or calling the police isn't going to bring back my son.
That what the lawyers say during a trial is not evidence.
Right, she is responsible for his death, but it doesn't mean it's murder.
Or say is not evidence. I have no leanings at all in these cases.
She's being charged with murder.
My interest is to have the cases tried fairly and according to the law.
She's being charged with murder
of the state and of the United States. You are the exclusive judges of the witnesses' credibility. That is, you decide the truthfulness and reasonableness of their testimony.
I agree with you, John.
You may believe or disbelieve all or any part of the testimony of any witness. You have the duty to decide what testimony is worthy of belief and what testimony is not worthy of belief. You should lay aside any preconceived notions and not decide a witness's credibility until the witness has testified. Rules of law govern what
you know what I think is going to happen, though?
If an attorney...
They will convict her if her boyfriend turns states on her. Like her boyfriend was there, remember? If her boyfriend tells her is testifying, that's what I'm waiting to see. If her boyfriend is testifying for the prosecution, she's fucking done. She's done.
That means that I granted the objection and you should not consider the objected to evidence. If I say overruled, then that means I did not grant the objection and you may consider the objected to evidence. You should not infer or assume anything from either lawyer's
I sent her a couple bucks last year, Sarah.
During this trial, the court will have to consider some procedures.
She tried to blame her boyfriend. Yeah, that could lead to some problems.
When that occurs, I shall excuse you to the jury room for a time. During these periods, the court will do its best to handle the matter as promptly as the law permits. On the other hand, I will appreciate your patience when this occurs.
Let me also say this. LEILANI had no chance in life. Well, she had a chance. Her mom was a fucking whore. Like, I mean, an actual prostitute, thief. Her mother is a horrible creature. LEILANI, man, she was in kind of a bad spot. But LEILANI was a thief and a drug addict and probably a whore.
Line of what they expect the evidence to show.
You know,
following the opening statements, the state has the opportunity to present evidence to support
100% agree with you, Pixie.
the defendant. And the defendant has the opportunity, if she so elects, to present evidence in her defense. This part of her trial is called the parties'
she looks dead
case
inside. Look at that bitch.
In the state's case in chief, the state calls its witnesses and introduces any exhibits. When these witnesses testify, they may be cross-examined by the defendant.
What's up, Ginger?
When the state has presented all of its
I don't know,
evidence,
Upgrade.
the state
I don't know
will
where the
rest
fuck
its
how they
case.
got the job.
Then, if the defendant elects to present any evidence, the defendant may call her witnesses and introduce her exhibits. Of course, when these witnesses testify, they may be cross-examined by the state. However, the defendant has no duty to testify or present any evidence whatsoever. After the presentation of the evidence, the attorneys may make a
I feel like she's looking right at me.
At this time, the attorneys will try to persuade you to decide the case in their favor. Following the closing arguments, I will charge or instruct you more specifically on the law that directly applies.
Well, she's staring down the camera. I don't know, but I like it.
You will retire to the jury room to deliberate and reach your verdict. This is not an exhaustive description of the criminal procedure, but hopefully it will give you an overview that will help you to understand the trial as it proceeds. It is your duty to follow any instructions that the court may give.
I don't know what the fuck she's doing.
Please remember to listen carefully to all the evidence. Don't jump to conclusions before the parties.
You know, if Koberger was staring down the camera like this, the whole fucking, all the guilters would go nuts.
During the trial, it would be improper for you to discuss the case with anyone, or to allow anyone to discuss the case.
I think it's Down syndrome, Upgrade, not
or within your hearing. This applies even to discussions among yourselves in the jury room or elsewhere before actual deliberation.
Yeah, I didn't say it was an excuse.
Also, during a trial, you should not communicate with the parties, the attorneys, or any of the witnesses. Under
Here's
this
the
rule,
thing.
you should not engage.
I agree with you, it's not an excuse, but neglectful parents teach you to be neglectful. You know what I mean?
So a party or attorney in the parking lot during
If you're
a
not
parade,
taught how to be a good parent, you're not going to be a good parent, for the most part.
Back to the juror.
This belief that good parenting just comes natural to people is wrong, man. You just like, I mean, just like being a good person, you are what you're taught.
So please do not take offense to their failure.
Not always, not 100%, but you know what I'm saying?
For the trial,
You're a product of
in the
your
coming
environment.
Days. This procedure will protect you not only from wrongdoing, but
I'll give you an example. I grew up in an atmosphere where saying the word bitch wasn't offensive. When I say the word bitch to a woman, it was never offensive where I grew up. So, you see where I'm saying? You're taught two different things.
there
But
were special
I come out here on the internet with you bitches, and all of a sudden they'll be like, why you call everybody bitch?
You will learn more about that as we go. Today is the day.
I hear you, sweet and salty.
Go out to lunch, but you will go out to.
I hear you, sweet and salty.
When you return to the courthouse from any adjournment for meals or from the night, please go directly to the jury assembly room. Is that where the jurors set up? Jury assembly room? Okay. This will lessen the opportunity for.
Yeah, I wanna see if her mom's there, too.
The person that you may not know is involved in the case. There is coverage, media coverage of this case, and you should be careful not to consider it. Do not
Exactly,
independently
exactly,
investigate
Carlito.
any facts or visit any scenes depicted in the evidence. Do not independently research.
Everybody
any
thinks
law
they're kind and
concerning
generous.
This case, you
Dog
are
lover.
prohibited from, again, doing any.
You probably are kind and generous, dog lover, but everyone believes they're a good person. I'm kind, I'm generous, I'm a good person. Everybody thinks that about themselves.
Is important that you consider.
Everyone thinks that
only
about
the
themselves.
evidence that you hear. It's within the.
Everyone.
That concludes my preliminary.
All right, here we go.
instructions. So at this time, I will turn first to the state. Is the state ready to proceed?
I like this camera work.
And the defense is ready to proceed.
Defense is ready, Your Honor.
We'll begin now with opening statements.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Exactly, Pixie. At least you can admit that. The cocktail time yet, I wish. Are there a glimpse of the audience? I don't see her mother there. I don't see her mother there. Bobby Joe turned her back on Leilani? Ain't that a bitch? Ain't that a bitch? Yo. Let me give a shout out to Kathy and Axel who sent $1.69, said we need a 69 in the chat. Hitler, I, and the cat. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
At about a year and a half old, a little bit over that, 20 months.
Thank you, Kathy and Axel.
Like all children, he was blameless,
Thank you.
he was innocent, and he was beautiful. And like all children, he was totally defenseless, totally and completely dependent on the adults in his life to take care of him and to look out for his safety. And the evidence in this case will show that the defendant violated that trust, that most basic, sacred trust of a parent, in the most horrible way.
I hate that bullhorn bitch.
In the middle of the night, she killed him, her own son, got in her car with his body, drove to a dumpster, and threw him away like a piece of trash.
Ooh.
She would go home, go to sleep like everything was normal, and wake up the next morning and report it to the police as an abduction. I woke up, my front door was open, and my child was missing. Now the story started to fall apart pretty quickly because of good, solid police work. But she would go on to tell a series of evolving lies over several weeks, only moving from one lie to the next as the police picked apart the first lie and presented her with the evidence that made
Kelly.
the first lie untenable.
Good to see you.
It's time to move on to lie number 2, 3, and 4.
Hope you're doing good, beautiful.
And as they're doing this with her, they're also searching for his body, which they ultimately discovered about 6 weeks after his disappearance in a local landfill, in pieces, unfortunately. And as a result of all of that,
That's
police work,
wild.
investigative efforts, which I think you'll be quite proud of when you hear about them in detail, the defendant is charged with his murder. So that's sort of the 50,000-foot view, the bluff, the bottom line up front for the military folks here. A little more detail on what happened, what the evidence will show. The 2 days that we're primarily concerned with here are October 4th and 5th of 2022, specifically the night of October 4th, moving into the morning of October 5th. Now, at that time, and I'll try to go slow for those of you who are taking notes. At that time, the defendant is living here on the west side of Savannah, jurisdiction of the Chatham County Police Department, in this house that's roughly in the center, with an in-ground swimming pool in the back. It's on Buckhalter Road.
Morning, Tracy.
Buckhalter Road.
Hope you're doing well,
She had
beautiful.
most recently lived in North Carolina, where she had met and lived with her most recent boyfriend, Daniel Youngkin, who you'll hear about. And some months before October of 2022, they had moved down and were living in this house at 535 Buckhalter. Now the house belonged to the defendant's mother, Billy Joe Howell, who you see here, and her husband, Thomas Howell, who is not the defendant's father, but is her stepfather. Also living in the house at that time is the defendant's brother, Paul Simon. They have the same mother and the same father.
Bunch of grown motherfuckers living in the house, huh?
And Daniel Youngkin, her boyfriend from North Carolina, and the defendant's 3 children. October of 2022, she has 3 children by 3 different men. The oldest,
Damn.
Zane Wharton, I think you'll hear was roughly about 3 years old. Zane
Exactly, Pixie.
has been through a lot with her. He's her firstborn son, and I expect you'll hear testimony that she considered him her ride or die.
Good point, Carlito.
That's her. Sky
Hey,
Youngkin
Mercy Cat.
is an infant.
Thank you to Mercy Cat.
That is her youngest child by Daniel Youngkin.
We're donating 5 memberships. Thank you so
And in
much,
the middle was
Mercy.
Quentin.
Thank you.
Quentin was her child by a man named Henry Bubba Moss Jr. You'll hear that
She went out to dinner,
she
Will.
had kind of a tumultuous relationship with Mr. Moss, that they had split before she even
Thank
knew
you,
she was
Mercy.
pregnant with Quentin, and that he initially didn't even believe that she was pregnant when she told him, and that he was never part of Quentin's life at all. And I expect you'll hear some testimony about the way that that background influenced the way that she treated Quentin. But you're supposed to love all your kids equally. You're supposed to treat them all the same.
No, Kitty.
I expect you'll hear some testimony that that didn't happen. That she treated Quentin differently, and not in a good way. Here's the house from the street. The master bedroom where defendant's mother, Billy Joe Howell, and her stepfather, Thomas Howell, lived is over here in the two-story portion of the house, but on the first floor. Brother Paul Simon's bedroom is upstairs, and you'll hear in one of the defendant's interviews, she'll say, when you're up in that room, you can't really hear anything that's going on downstairs. It's kind of its own layer up there. Now, the defendant, Daniel, and the three children.
Hoes are gonna
lived in a
hold, Kitty.
bedroom right
Hoes
through
are
this
gonna
front
hold.
door. I think there was some sort of addition or something on the house at one point. This bedroom that they live in appears to be like a converted one-time living room or something like that. If you step through that front door,
Great.
this is what you see. You see a couch in the foreground. You see a desk behind that. And then on the far wall there, you see a bed. That's the defendant and Daniel Youngkin's bed. If you pan to the right, you'll see a closet door here. And then it's hard to make out in this picture, but beyond this closet door is a door into a bathroom that then feeds into the dining room. And that is the only way to get from this room to the main body of the house. You see a race car bed there. That's where Zane slept. We further pan to the right. You can see that race car bed completely, and you see a projector on the wall, evidently for suppose for watching movies or something while you're sitting on the couch. And then if you pan into that right-hand corner, you see this pack and play. That's immediately to the right as you go in that front door. And that's where Quentin slept. That was Quentin's bed.
Damn.
Now, that sort of sets the scene as to who's living in this house and where they're sleeping. Before we come back to the morning of October 4th, I want to talk to you about what the evidence is going to show as far as what's the biggest thing going on in the defendant's life. And the biggest thing going on in her life in the months, days leading up to October 4th is the status of her relationship with Daniel Youngkin. Things are not good. She is feeling unloved, undesired, ignored. And I'll show you a couple of text messages taken from her phone by the investigators
Oh.
that show this. Now, this is kind of small on here, and it's kind of bright, so I'll read it for you for those of you who can't see. Some of you may be able to read it, perhaps not all of you can. This is July of 2022. I want to feel beautiful, not barely average. I want to feel loved and not just liked. I want to feel wanted, not just tolerated. I want to be able to look at you and know it's just me, not wonder how many others there are. I want to feel like my body is worth showing off, not like it's just been trashed from having 3 kids.
Damn.
I want to feel the way you made me feel in the beginning, like I'm treasured and safe, not like I'm just here because you really don't have a choice. And you'll see quite a number of messages like this. It's basically an unbroken string of text messages all the way up to
You go get yourself some ass. I know mine is good enough. Never was, never will be.
August 6th. Yeah, go get yourself some ass. I know mine is not good enough. Never was, never will be.
Damn.
September 10th. You're the reason I'm angry every day. You're the reason I'm depressed, why I feel the way I do about myself. Now, this is not a minor thing for her. I told you it's probably the biggest thing emotionally going on in her life.
Exactly, sweet and
She
salty.
perceives herself to be being treated by Daniel, and perhaps to some degree actually was being treated by him. It's at least how she feels. This is such a big deal for her that with her phone, at one point she filmed something that can only be described as a digital suicide note. All right, she's in the car, and you'll hear her at the end say, "I've got to go. I made it to the river."
Does it have the
She's
Twinkie
in her
button?
car, evidently contemplating
Goddamn.
driving her car into a river and ending her life. And she starts out saying goodbye to her children. She has some kind words to say about Zane. She has some kind, loving words to say about Sky. You might perceive that she momentarily kind of seems to be at a loss for what exactly to say about Quentin, our victim, the middle child.
Show us the video.
And then she goes on to explain that the message is clearly addressed to Danny. She goes on to attribute what she's about to do to the way that Danny has treated her. Now, this is a 4-minute some video. It's a little long for an opening statement, but we're going to watch the whole thing.
One of
We're gonna
these
watch the
chicks,
whole
huh?
thing because it's an important window into her state of mind
We're getting some good shit right now.
at this stage in time. This video was filmed in August of 2022.
Yeah.
But the evidence in terms of the text messages and her statements will show that nothing really changed between when this video was filmed and October 4th of 2022. So with that preview, I'll play this for you now.
To Sky, Zane, and Quinn. Mama tried. And Mama's not here no more because she doesn't love you. I do. I can't love myself. If I can't love myself, how can I love y'all? I have tried over and over and over and I failed. I scream for help and I don't get it. This guy, you are such a beautiful little girl. I wish I could watch you grow up. I wish I could hold you for your first heartbreak because my mama didn't. Sky, I love you, baby girl. And Zane, you
Yeah.
are so handsome,
This is a crazy bitch. That's the only answer.
so protective.
Just a crazy bitch.
Good man one day. Just a good man. I hope you grow up and you learn what loyalty is. And you learn how to treat a woman and how to love a woman. And Quinn, baby. You are
He,
You're so happy all the time. You smile all the time. I wish I could see what kind of man you would be too.
not one. What's up, Marriott?
And Danny, I loved you. I loved you with all of me, all of my heart. I loved you. I wish that the crowd you walked on when we found each other. We were both in such fragile states.
Jesus.
And I built you back up. I would do anything for you.
Not a single cry,
This time
tear.
I was building you back up.
What's up, Stephanie?
Tear me back down.
She's trying to push a tear out. Yeah.
And even now, after everything that I think has been brought to the light, hopefully it was everything, right? Even now, you look at me with the same look in your eyes as you have when you talked about Caitlyn.
Look, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. Everything I'm hearing right now, I've dealt with it myself before. This is just a crazy bitch looking for attention from her dude that she's lost attention from, probably because of her own craziness. I've been through this a million times. A million times. Women have sent me messages just like this. Exactly. I don't trust anyone that is crying and says, hold up, let me record this. Exactly.
I don't hear the love in your voice anymore. I don't feel the love in your touch anymore.
Exactly, sweet and salty. This
I definitely don't see the love in your eyes anymore.
is all for attention.
If you truly loved me like you claimed you did, you wouldn't have done all that. Even when I was carrying your child and hating myself every fucking day, crying myself to sleep every fucking night because you did not want to have sex with me. You did not want to love me. You just did not want me.
What's up, Cyber?
I wanted you. I wanted you
Beetlejuice.
more than life itself. But you've proven that it was only one way. That feeling was only one way. That love, that loyalty, it was all one way.
Man,
You take care of my kids.
yeah, exactly, Cam.
You couldn't take care of me. You couldn't love me. You couldn't do me right. So please, for the love of fucking God, do my kids right. And my kids running up at the river now, bye, David.
I'm at the river now by Danny. So that's where she was at. This is her emotional state in the summer, fall of 2022.
You know what I've noticed this about?
That brings us back.
And listen, I'm just being dead honest. I've noticed this about women. Like, you guys consider like whether your value sometimes, and not all of you, by the way, is based on how much dudes want to fuck you. I think it's weird, right? Like, how do you I've been through that shit myself. Because let me tell you, women, a secret. Once we fucked you once, twice, a couple times, we don't want it as much as we used to. I don't understand why that fucks up with y'all's head. It's just the way men are. It's just the truth. I don't know why you consider your value to be because people want to fuck you or not. That's not what your entire value should be based on.
Back to October 4th. And here I'll give you sort of an overview.
Yeah, she got fat as shit.
It's going to show us the secrets of the nuts. Now, first thing to establish is that
Exactly, Pixie.
on the relevant dates here, Billy Joe Howell, the defendant's mother,
I hear you,
Simon
Tracy.
Howell, her stepdad, are out of town. They're not in town. They're not in the house. They are for the house. I expect that would be undisputed. So that leaves in the house Paul, the defendant, Danny, and the three children's named defendants.
God
The
damn.
morning of October
Oh, it's the babysitter, right?
a little
Yeah.
bit. The defendant and Danny take the three children to babysitter Michelle McCarty.
Exactly.
They
Well,
have two teenage daughters that live on the same street. They live like right across the street on Buck Alton. And it says babysitter up here, and I've called her the babysitter. But really, you'll hear Michelle, one of her daughters. And it comes across more like they're almost like a second family or a substitute family for these kids because of the parental shortcomings at 535 Buck Alton. So the evidence might show that babysitter kind of undersells it. The child care arrangement was this. At this point in time, Danny and the defendant are working at a warehouse in
I'm gonna go take a piss. Give me 1 second.
unloading, loading boxes. They're carrying boxes at the warehouse in Port Wentworth. And their shift starts at 6 a.m. They're working the 6 a.m. shift. So early in the morning, on the way to work, they'll drop off 3 children with Michelle and with her 2 teenage daughters. And so they do that. And they both go to work. They clock in at essentially the exact same time, a little after 6 a.m. on October 4th. Now they clock out less than 2 hours later. And the reason they do that is the defendant is experiencing some kind of dental issue. She has a tooth that's bothering her and it needs to come out. And so they clock out right around 8 o'clock, just before 8 o'clock in the morning. And they go to some type of like emergency dental clinic or walk-in dental clinic. And she gets a tooth pulled. These are some pictures, selfies she took of herself in the dentist chair. And you can see the side of her mouth on the left side there, I think is kind of swollen. She sent these to Daniel, Young, and Danny, who was sitting out in the waiting room waiting for her. And so after this, they do not go back to work. They go home. And the rest of the waking hours of the day are pretty normal. They get some lunch. They relax. Her mouth is bothering her. She's tired. She's sore. And eventually, at about 4:30 in the afternoon, they go and they pick up the 3 kids from the babysitter from Michelle, and they bring them home. So at that point, Danny, the defendant, and the 3 kids are in the house. Now, Paul, he worked at the same warehouse, but he worked a later shift, and you'll hear what it is. It's something like 2 p.m. to late at night, around 10 or so. That was Paul's shift. So same place, different shift. So he's not there in the afternoon. Now they're there. They do dinner. They do bath time. They put the kids down. Quentin in his pack and play. I think you'll hear testimony or a statement from the defendant that Sky, the infant, slept on that couch that we looked at, and Zane in the race car bed. And I think it'll be undisputed, and I expect that it'll be undisputed that, at around 10 p.m., Quentin is fine. He's just in his crib, in his pack and play for bedtime. Okay. And what happens at this point sets off a chain of events that goes over the next couple hours and results in tragedy. And that is that the defendant and Daniel have yet another argument about how he's treating her. This is sometime a little after 10 p.m. And that this is something she told to detectives eventually in some of her interviews. About how he doesn't want her, he doesn't want to touch her, he's not feeling desire for her like he used to. And we've already talked about this is a major trigger for her. This is the biggest emotional issue going on in her life, and it's significant. It drove her to the brink in the video that you can watch. This is not a minor thing for her. And so she leaves the house after 10 p.m. on the first of 2 trips that you'll hear a lot about in this trial.
Maybe will.
She didn't really want to talk about, at least truthfully, with investigators. And that first trip is to the drug dealer. She says she says she left so that things wouldn't escalate.
They got footage. Okay.
That's her word. So that's her. The first place she goes is this Circle K. And I should have pointed out that you can see her getting out of the car. That's at 10:29, so about 10:30.
Oh, shit.
You can see her getting out of her Dodge Journey with a blanket wrapped around her shoulders. She's not in a good state.
Yeah, no, that's some dope shit.
Anyway, 10:30.
That's some dope shit. Motherfuckers ain't in the. Let me explain this to you. That's in the South, man. It's not that cold out here on October 4th. You gotta remember, that's Savannah. That's South Georgia. So her walking around with a blanket, that's like some heroin dope fiend shit. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're just randomly cold, so much so you're taking the blanket with you to the gas station. Man.
She goes into the Circle K, she buys a couple convenience store
That's some dope fiend shit. 100%.
And then she texts Danny. He's got her saved in his phone as Lanny Baby. She texts him, I'm going to run to 204, I guess. That's at 10:32. Immediately after she leaves the Circle K. She might still be in the parking lot probably. And 204 is an area you'll hear about in this case. It's sort of it's shorthand for our drug dealer. I'm going to run to our drug dealer. This is Highway 204. Is what this is a reference to. And their drug dealer lives on a street right on 204. So she's going to get drugs to try to make herself feel better.
Yeah, man.
This is a screenshot of some GPS plots from her phone that the police eventually made after getting into her phone. See how
Everywhere. You tracked everywhere, man.
and this red kind of blob up here is a series of GPS points showing that she's at the drug dealer's house on Arkwright Lane from about 10:45 p.m. to 10:55. And she's scoring drugs to use that night because she doesn't like the way she's feeling. This is some information exported from her cell phone extraction showing that while she was there at 10:49, she made an $80 Cash App payment to a Timothy Weston.
What kind of dumb motherfuckers?
At least one.
All of these people deserve to get locked up for being so goddamn stupid. You guys gotta be, I mean, who the fuck Cash Apps the goddamn drug dealer? That's some, you deserve to be in jail. You deserve it. Fuck it. Dummy.
Paul gets home.
What's up, Amanda?
At 9:56 p.m.
These people are fucking stupid already.
Took him a minute to get home because he was smoking a blunt in the parking lot or something like that. You're going to hear a lot about drug use in this case.
Clearly.
He gets home while the defendant is still out on this trip to the drug dealer. And he'll tell you that when he got home, he went in and said hey to Danny. And he saw the kids, he saw Quinn in his pack to play.
Yeah.
He even interacted with him a little bit. He'll tell you what it was. Hey, little man, how's it going? And he sees it. Okay.
Motherfuckers Cash Apping for dope.
At least sleep yet. He's there and he's okay. Now, by 10 after 11, this is another GPS screenshot. It's hard to make out on this TV. But this is, by 10 after 11, she's got a bunch of GPS points hitting at the house on Buckhalter Road. And this is just to signify that this is when she gets, this is around when she gets home. 10 after 11. So she's home at that point.
All right.
Paul is upstairs in his bedroom, going to sleep, kind of secluded from the rest of the family. And Danny eventually goes to sleep as well. And you'll hear her say this to the investigators, that she was the only one up and active
Crazy shit.
in the middle of the night, in the hours leading up towards midnight. Danny is sleeping because he's going to get up and go to work in the morning. He has to get up like sometime 5:30 to go to work. And Paul was sleeping.
Should only Cash App and PayPal your favorite YouTuber. That's the only motherfucker you should be Cash Apping and PayPal.
I was the only
Not you fucking drug dealer.
My tooth was hurting. I couldn't sleep. What she's doing is she's going on a bender You'll hear her admit to this eventually. She didn't want to initially, but you'll hear that she eventually acknowledged that she was up kind of frantically using drugs for an extended period of time while everybody else in the house was asleep and out of play.
Eight months, I think.
In a line.
What's up, love, Tina?
Smoke to kind of bring myself down. Then you smoke a cigarette. Then I hit another line and repeat the cycle. So she's in her house by herself, physically uncomfortable because of her dental issue, emotionally wrecked because of what's going on with her and Danny. It's resurfaced again this night. Well, the resurface is probably not the way to put it, because it's just an ever-present problem.
Exactly.
This is a bad situation. And this is a volatile, dangerous situation. And that's because you'll hear something that she later said.
You know, I'm just gonna be honest with this chick. She was so young to be so used up. I understand why she didn't have any self-esteem, man. 3 different kids, 3 different fathers, drug addict. She's kind of crazy. Your average dude isn't gonna want to deal with that. Well, fuck him. But she's used up and a fiend, and so she killed her own self-esteem though. And I don't want to hear motherfuckers say that she killed her self-esteem because of the drugs. Man, she had 3 kids. Her self-esteem with 3 different dudes. Her self-esteem had been wrecked for years. I don't know if she ever had good self-esteem. You see what I'm saying? Like, no, she was clearly a wreck her entire adult life.
Investigation on the recording.
No self-love at all.
Who was cooperating with the police and trying to help them gain information
No self-love at all.
about the effect that cocaine has on them. It's not just fun for her. I hear her say that it makes her angry and impulsive.
Ran through, yes.
And so those are the conditions. She's up all alone, physically uncomfortable, emotionally unhappy, unstable. So. And around 1 a.m. probably, she kills Quentin.
Oh,
Now I'm going to focus on
how you know?
what she did, when things happened. And probably in closing argument with all the evidence, we'll talk to you a little bit more about why. Why exactly in that moment did she do this?
This motherfucker knew the exact time.
And the sequence of events and what happened. She takes his body and puts it in Dodge Journey, Georgia tag TEN 9300. And she begins the cover-up. Cover-up is not just the lies to the police. The cover-up starts immediately. A little after 1 a.m., she drives down Buckhalter Road, which turns to the right here. It's still Buckhalter Road at that turn. It comes into Ogeechee Road right here. And she pulls into this mobile home plaza. It's right here. Mostly what you're seeing is trees, but there are mobile homes in here. This is Azalea Mobile Home Plaza. And there's a convenient stand-up dumpster sort of hidden away under some tree cover in the tree line here. And she throws Quentin's body away like a piece of trash about 1:17 in the morning.
117? How you know all that?
She drives home. This is another export from her phone, showing that her phone was locked from 2:01 in the morning until 9:13 in the morning.
Oh,
This is just kind of a shorthand way of saying that's roughly about the time she eventually goes
sleep, right.
on her phone. Now, Danny wakes up from work a little after 5, and he tries to.
Yeah, I agree, Bixie.
She's supposed to go to work with him. Remember, they work the same shift. She has been up all night doing drugs, and he's been, responsibly sleeping, so he's able to get up for work. And he cannot wake her up. She will not wake up. And at this point, he's trying to get out of the house.
Agreed, Mercy.
To go to work. And he believes that all 3 children are there. He does not go over and check the packet plane. He doesn't even know that Quentin is gone. You saw in those pictures the packet plane is all the way across the room in the far corner. It's not right next to the closet. It's not right next to the bathroom. He can't wake her up to go to work, and he's annoyed by this because this is, I think he may tell you it's not the first time this has happened. And
He may tell you. Oh, did you just catch what he just said? He said he may tell you this ain't the first time it's happened. Oh, the boyfriend turned state witness. This bitch is toast. Already toast. It's done. It's over.
Trying to make money, either put a down payment on a house or a security deposit on an apartment.
Clearly.
You don't have to live with a mom. And he'll tell you that he was frustrated by this. You're not going to get up and come to work and make money.
What do you mean he was as much to blame?
Okay, you're not going to come to work and make money. We're not going to spend money.
How was he as much to blame? He went to bed for work and then woke up and then left for work. Confused what you mean? He's to blame. What do you mean? Heel turn, yes.
And so he texts Michelle, hey, the kids are going to stay here with her today, Miss Michelle, 5:20 in the morning. She says, okay. And the reason for that is his thought is, look, if you're not going to get up and make money, you can stay here and watch the kids.
Right.
Wake up and find these kids are still here.
Was he though?
Of course.
Well, probably.
So he goes to work, and he clocks in.
I mean, that's what they're saying. There's no reason to believe him.
6:11.
Yeah, he was at work at 6:11.
6:11 a.m. And he will clock out at 9:15, a little over 3 hours later. And
That's a quick work day.
He clocks out at 9:15. Is that at 9:14, 1 minute before the clock out, he gets a call from the defendant who's got him saved in his King. And he's got the 910 area code. It's North Carolina, where he's from.
Oh.
Now, this is a 21-minute call. She calls him, and the cover-up, initially I said, the cover-up starts with covering this up to him.
Yeah, I agree. She's cooked.
Covers up to the police, but before they ever even get involved, she's covering it up to Danny. She calls him and she tells him that she woke up, the front door was open, and Quentin was gone. And he would run out to his car, leave work, and come home, and stay on the line for 21 minutes. Police went to the warehouse that they work at, and they got some video footage to see, well, what did Danny look like when he was leaving work, having gotten this call? And this video
Morning, Chris
shows him
Lynn.
running out. That's Danny running out of work. You'll hear from his boss, a fellow named David Mullins, that David ran into Danny in the parking lot. Danny's running out, Dave's just pulling in and getting to work. And they briefly encounter one another. And Dave will tell you, he looked genuinely upset. He was for real crying, tears coming down his face. Danny does not know what is going on. He knows what he's hearing from the defendant, and that's it. So he rushes home.
I believe that story, actually.
And I'll tell you this. I told you the call to Danny was at 9:14. As he's on the way,
And they talked for 20 minutes.
on this call with the defendant where she's telling him she woke up and the front door was open, These are ADT records. There's an ADT security system on this house.
Oh.
And it keeps track of when
Oh.
the stores open and closed, just open, or just closed, having been open.
Damn.
Police got these records.
Doors do that shit?
And you'll see that that front door didn't open until 9:22 in the morning on October 5th. Now that's 6 minutes in, 6 or 8 minutes in to that call with Danny.
Oh.
And so what the evidence is going to show that she's on the phone with him saying, I woke up and the front door was open and Quentin was gone.
Oh.
It's during that phone call that she's open.
Yo, she's fucked.
Essentially tampering with evidence, tampering with the scene, staging the scene.
Yeah.
The story.
She is fucked.
Danny gets home. Somehow, babysitter Michelle got wind that this was going on. Maybe she heard screaming or something. She'll tell you how she heard about this when she testifies. She comes over. Paul hears.
Well, they couldn't have done a talk on the little boy. The little boy was in bits and pieces in the landfill.
Yelling, comes downstairs. Now everybody.
Then they didn't find him for 6 weeks.
And the defendant, of course, is the only person who knows where he actually is. And that's
So he didn't see the kid before he went to work. Yeah, yeah.
Here's what
Yeah, look, man, sometimes stepdads don't do that shit, right? You know what I mean? I'm just being honest with you. Like, I don't go knock on them motherfuckers' door before I go to work. Unless the only way I see them is if they're in my fucking way. Remember, he was a stepdad of Quentin, right? He was a stepdad of Quentin. I've rested over a week, kitty. I gotta earn a living. Even though I'm not right now, but you get the point.
Police show up a little before 10 a.m. and she repeats the same story to them. The evidence will show that that car that's the furthest one, the most recent one that entered the driveway, is the babysitter's, Michelle's. She had pulled up and parked it.
Yeah, this bitch is fucked, man. Already I can tell.
That repeats that story to the responding officers. You'll hear from someone.
That was the boyfriend?
Now, this is a missing child. So situations like this, it's all hands on deck. Everybody comes out. Forensics comes out. I think the forensics unit came out, had a drone up looking for Quentin. Patrol officers.
Yeah, I hear you, Kelly.
Others patrol, canvass the area, look for Quentin in the woods. All sorts of people are coming. Most of the command staff of the Chatham County Police Department showed up because this is a big deal. We take these things very seriously. One of the specialized units that responded after patrol.
I don't know, man, if he was or wasn't.
CID, Criminal Investigations Division. The first detective there in CID is the guy you hear from, Sean Wilkins. Sean Wilkins shows up, and he's the one who conducts the first, what you call more like the first formal interview with the defendant. And most notable from that statement that he takes from her at this time is when she says she went to bed and when she says she got up. You'll hear that she tells him, I went to bed around midnight and I got up around 9.
Yo.
You don't see anything at all about this trip to Azalea Mobile a little after 1 a.m.
Let me give a shout out to my boy Upgrade who sent 5331 using Apple Cash. Thank you, brother. Thank you very much. I believe that gets us up to 60. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you, man. My boy Upgrades.
That's the trip that she took to get.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
So here's her telling Wilkins
still last night.
Very much.
When I went to bed last night.
And what time was that? Do you remember?
Around 12.
12?
Dope fiends.
But I had my wisdom teeth removed yesterday.
I'm sorry, that's it.
So, late.
I get you. Listen, I had mine too.
Sorry, I got up this morning.
Don't write that.
No.
And my front door is open, so I went up and I shut it, not thinking about anything like that. And I look over and check my kids, and he was gone. All the rest were there. He was gone.
Sorry.
This motherfucker.
Woke up around 9. No mention of the azalea trip. Took 2 trips, 204 earlier.
Dope fiends. That's the answer, sweet and salty.
Trip number 2 was that azalea trip.
I know.
She's totally omitting that. Now, all hands on deck, right? Missing. There are detectives working on this case that aren't even out of the scene from the very beginning. One of them is the Chatham County Police Detective. You'll hear from Keanu Robbins.
Yeah, she probably took her body. I would imagine.
Islands Precinct, I think is where she was, on Johnny Mercer. Not anywhere close to her. But she's in her office, she's sitting at her computer, and she's...
But let me tell you something. Let me tell you something with the boyfriend, and this is something that is what you guys need to remember. The boyfriend's initial statement was that he saw Quentin before he went to work. The story being told right now is not the initial story. The initial story was the boyfriend saw Quentin before he went to work. Swear to God.
This is a stock photo of what's called a clock.
What's up,
The
Contessa?
clock system is a series of cameras that are set up around town at major intersections or along busy roads. And what they do is they snap a picture of the license plates.
What would you charge her mother with, Contessa?
Police can use these for a number of different things. One of the things they can
I believe her mother did get charged.
somebody who flees from a traffic
A
stop
year ago.
gets away. Police can't pursue them without.
But what would you charge her mother
They
with?
can take that tag number of that individual, they can put it in the flock system, put like a count out for them. If that tag hits on any other cameras, it'll alert the police and they can try again. Another thing that the police can do, and what Detective Robbins did, was look up vehicles.
You got to remember though, when it comes to a lot of the shit that we know is just shit we've heard off of news stories or within the community. You know, I don't remember 2 years ago necessarily where I heard that he said he had saw the boy. But do you see what I'm saying? I don't remember where we heard that. Does that make sense? Like, what if it was just some fucking YouTuber? You know what I'm saying? Or what if it was, I would have to look at the PCA again.
Finds that Dodge Journey.
We've assumed, yeah. A lot of that assumptions is why I think a lot of people are wrong on a lot of cases out here, man. I'm going to be honest. Remember how at the beginning of all this, I told you guys, I think this was a child neglect that I think turned into death? I've changed my mind already, just in an opening statement. I'm leaning towards she killed this baby. This bitch was going crazy. This bitch is dickmatized. And she said, fuck it, I'm just going to kill my kid. Throw it in the trash. I'm being honest. I've already changed my mind. That's why I can't wait for like the Kohlberger trial and shit. Like, it's gonna be so fucking crazy to see some of the things we haven't seen yet. I'm sure there's not much, but you never know. The way they put together the case is the problem. Is what's making it interesting. And I gotta admit, he's selling me on it. He told the babysitter that could be.
Flock system looks it up in the database to see what, if any, flock records that vehicle has
Exactly, Latina.
anytime recently. And she sees
Exactly, Cleta.
has been out late at night, driving on trips that the defendant hasn't mentioned. She radios that information to Biggie Jones via phone. this detection. So that's the Dodge Journey in the driveway at the time the police response. She calls.
Yeah, but I'm saying, what would be the charge? All you could do is charge the mother with neglect. That's it. Maybe neglect leading to a death, but you could not charge that grandmother with murder. I'm not even sure they necessarily got LEILANI on murder. Was the baby in the way of the relationship? No, man, the boyfriend didn't give a shit. The boyfriend didn't win. No, man, if you got to watch the first part of this. It was LEILANI that was going crazy because the boyfriend wasn't fucking her. The boyfriend didn't give a shit. He just went off to work. I know it's common and everybody loves to point the finger at the dude. It's got to be the dude's fault. It's got to be the dude's fault and the white supremacist's fault and all that. But no, this is a case of a crazy whore bitch that went nuts because her dude wasn't giving her enough dick. And so she threatened to kill herself and then she killed the goddamn kid. That's what I see so far. That's what we've seen so far in this case.
Lieutenant Foster.
I'm just saying that's what we've seen.
After the defendant was told Wilkins, she went to the
Yeah, but I said, what would you charge her with? What would you charge her with? I hear you, Love Tina.
Foster goes up to her. He now has this information that this tag has been hit on some flock cameras and seems to have been driving around during the night. And he goes up to her, and he's a lieutenant at this point, which is like kind of a managerial.
I'm just asking you, Contessa, what would you charge the grandmother with?
But he has background.
Nah, man. That bitch has got 3 different kids with 3 different dudes. She ain't having postpartum. She's been fucking and sucking for a long time and having kids.
And a police department, I think, at one point, in their violent crimes unit, investigating homicide. So he knows he's under an investigation. He knows how to do this.
She's experienced at sucking and fucking and having kids.
With this information.
That dick don't fit, you must have quit.
He
Yeah.
wants to know what he's true. So he goes up to her and he asks her, "Did you go anywhere last night?"
Okay, no, I've asked you, Contessa, should they charge the grandmother with? Do you see what I'm saying? What should they charge? Not murder. Yeah, that's what I was getting at. That's what was, okay, good.
Guys, he's careful to tackle on, like.
That's all I want to know. Yeah.
And she seems to know, the evidence will show that she seems to know something about this trip.
Okay, let me go ahead and set this straight. She did not go drinking with anyone. She went to a restaurant and had dinner and had drinks while she was having dinner. People keep acting as if LEILANI and her mom went to some party. No, they went to a restaurant on the beach. They sat and had food, oysters, and they had a drink. Upgrade does that shit every day for lunch. That's not a party. That's not a party. Going somewhere for dinner and having a drink with your dinner is not partying.
And so she comes up to the store.
I ain't that picture. Yeah, she does look big in that chair.
Is that, that trip that I took away from my house shortly after 1 a.m.? That was
No, I hear you, Chris Lynn.
origin from a friend at the Chevron. Now the Chevron is right next to Azalea. So that's her story. This is what she was
There's a party everywhere. I'm at.
location at that time.
Yeah.
My tooth was bothering me. I didn't have any origin. I went to pick some up and got some. This is the first appearance of the origin story, which lasts for about a week or so. Maybe a week and a half.
Did y'all go anywhere last night or yesterday with Faith that maybe he could have followed you or something? Y'all didn't go anywhere? No, I mean, just maybe you yourself.
Yeah, I know. I didn't go home.
So o'clock yesterday afternoon?
No, like water me advice because I couldn't go to sleep.
Okay, so where'd you go?
Right up the road, right here, got Chevron. And my friend that I used to work with, she had word out because they didn't have me, so okay, I'm home.
Okay. Did you go anywhere else? Have you made that phone? So when did you get home?
I can tell you exactly.
Look how nasty that pool is and shit.
So I'm gone for literally 12 minutes.
All right, so that's the story about what I was doing when I drove there. Now, I'll tell you this. She's trying to show them on her phone this trip on an app called Life 360. Life 360 kind of generally tracks your movements. You can join with your family, and they can see where you are and have been, and vice versa. You may be wondering, well, look, if this trip was so sinister in nature, why is she trying to show it to them on her phone? And you'll hear testimony that the reason that she was comfortable holding out her phone.
But it wasn't partying. All she did was go have dinner and a drink.
And looking at the screen, you can't necessarily tell which one she's at. You can only tell when she's down. So she.
Look, man, if we consider people having grown adults having a drink every single time they have a drink partying, I guess I just party all the fucking time then. What's up, Gigi? The beautiful Texas Gigi. Good to see you. You see what I'm saying? Like, if that's what we consider to be partying, I guess I'll just party for breakfast, all kinds of shit, all the time. Except for right now, because I'm sick. Hey, Gigi, how you doing, beautiful?
That this kind of helps prove that I'm telling the truth about the Chevron. Now, the police would later pull very precise GPS data from the phone, not just looking at the screen, but from the actual phone. That puts
People are dumb, man. Man, like, this woman,
right at the dumpster.
yeah, she did this shit. I'm already convinced.
That's why she's holding the Life 360 app.
I'm already convinced.
So that's the first appearance of the board to explain the Azalea trip.
Yeah.
They take.
I ain't gonna lie though. If my kid was missing or if I'd get him, I'd be drinking like a motherfucker too. Just watching this trial makes me want to drink. To be honest, I couldn't imagine being them. Yeah, I'd have a drink too.
The police take all three of the adults in the house. Eventually, they say, you know, we really need to get Danny and the defendant to
She is eating a lot of cornbread in there, no doubt.
interviews. You just get like a complete sequence of the day. And the first interview with the defendant takes place in something that they call the lactation room, nursing room. Some rooms. And the reason for that is that Danny was in this single interview that they have with the cameras right up on the. And this video is recorded by Detective Marion.
She probably working in the kitchen or something.
This is a joint state.
And I'm gonna be honest with you. She's probably got quite a few simps in her commissary, man. In the beginning, when I didn't think she was guilty, I was. I lived in Georgia. I wanted, you know, I kind of wanted her to get out and, you know. She sounds like a fun person to hang out with. She clearly has no problem sucking dick. That's all I'm saying. Now that I've seen that cell phone video over, though, I'm glad I didn't. Glad I did not take that trip. Glad I did not do anything. But to be back to what I was saying, she's probably got a lot of guys sitting in her commissary, man. So she's probably eating really good. Swear GSN for some is guaranteed 30 pounds. Right. Involuntary manslaughter or negligent homicide. Nah, I agree with that, Contessa. She sleep all the way she wants now. No, it's true.
The FBI showed up because they get involved in kidnappings and abductions.
Now you can get a jailhouse interview.
What happens at headquarters is if they pair off
Yeah.
teamwork. One,
No, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Oh, man, I'm predatory as fuck. Now that I know her self-esteem ain't shit, bro. What's up, Brian? I'm just being honest with you. I'm predatory as fuck. I ain't got time to be sitting here trying to cuddle with some confident bitch that's mouthy. No. I want a low self-esteem, shut the fuck up, quiet broad. That's just me. That's been sucking dick a long time. She knows how to get the job done. That's just me, though. Continue.
FBI agent wanted
Negligent homicide?
they
Yeah, potentially.
interview.
Sonny gained like 100 pounds. Yeah.
And so Detective Lemons is paired with Special Agent Matt.
Contessa's way behind on the stream. I can see that now.
They were kind of partners throughout this investigation. And it's very open-ended. What they're asking for is just give us an account of your day. Give us an
You can't just make up charges, Contessa.
account of where you did what
You gotta be, you would have had to commit a crime.
It's just sealing files. Phones. But the audio is
We most need to leave their DNA on the like button. Yes.
left the dentist. So she does start it.
So right now,
Yeah, I agree.
again, we're sorry for her.
I agree with you completely about her trying to have babies with him, but also that, listen, it doesn't have to be a chick or a dude. I mean, like, I think we have all, maybe I'm the only one, we've all, I would assume, has been with that one crazy motherfucker that when you don't want to be with them, kind of threatens or goes into that suicidal rant. You know what I mean? I guess maybe not all of us have done that, have been with someone like that, but I've been with several. There are several women that have told me that they were going to kill themselves if I didn't stay with them and all this type of shit. I assume a lot of us has been through that, and I know men do it too. Men do that shit a lot. Actually, probably more than chicks, to be honest. Man. All right. I disagree, Contessa. I disagree because LEILANI lived there. She could have killed the baby whether Bobby Joe was there or not.
So that's the start. I was leaving the dentist, getting my wisdom tooth pulled. And the end is the Oragel story, the Chevron Oragel story.
So that's the way love goes.
That's true. And she admitted that to Wilkins, is now had to come up with a story to cover this trip.
What was really bothering me about what was one of the
Yo,
concept of fantasy thing.
let me give a shout out. I don't want to. I'll just say A. Ross. I don't want to dox your name or anything like that. A. Ross sent 20. Thank you so much. Thank you for hitting the cash app. And the beautiful Texas Gigi sent 50. Says, now I'm tipping you for live streaming, but I would tip you either way, handsome. Thank you, beautiful. Thank you, beautiful. Thank you, AR, and thank you, Gigi. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, Oragel. So I got caught up with another one of my friends named Misty that I used to work with. He has a lot of mouth problems, and that's sure she had any Oragel. The Chevron.
Never sure the baby will never know no life, but never sure.
And then for like 360, I can show y'all right now. Everything was on the left outside your back.
Thank you guys.
And my mouth, check all the kids again, they were okay.
Now, a couple things about this initial interview, which she's asked to give an account of her movements for like the last 24 hours. No mention whatsoever of the trip to the drug. She doesn't want to talk.
Well, yeah. Well, of course she didn't mention a trip to the drug dealer. She's talking to a goddamn cop. don't understand this weird thing where everybody just expects everybody to just tell on themselves and shit. Like, why the fuck would you do that? Like, if I was drunk driving that night, trust me, I'd leave the drunk driving part out of the story. You don't tell on yourself under any circumstances ever in life, and I don't give a fuck what you've done or what you haven't done. You never tell on yourself for any reason at any point in time, because you're not punished more if you don't tell on yourself. Trust me, I had a warrant for 4 years, did less time than I would have done if I would have got caught that same day. Just saying. So on the screen, I missed that part. They were stop self-snitching, yeah. They're talking to her, they're interrogating her. I don't know why the fuck the camera's like that. Yeah, self-snitching shit.
So that's omitted completely from this interview.
Commissary, man.
And now she's put a name to the friend.
Commissary, man. Trust me, I didn't do it. There was periods of time where I didn't eat prison food for a long time. But let me tell you, prison food and jail food is for broke people, man. Just to be honest with you, prison and jail food is for broke people. We was getting KFC. That's all I'm saying. Pizza Hut and shit.
Now, I'll tell you before we move on, I'll tell you this. The police asked her to go through her phone, and of course she's playing, the victim. I'm the victim, the mother victim, the child. So she probably feels some pressure to cooperate. So she lets him go through her phone. A couple things they see is there's no call to Misty, and there's no call to Circle K to check and see if they have Orajel, which is something that she said. First, I called Circle K to check and see whether they had Orajel. They did, so then I called Misty. None of that in there at all.
Could none of it happen. Bitch is lying.
They also see a message from the defendant to Danny. We looked at this earlier. This is when she's leaving
I agree with that, Gigi.
And is about to go to the door at 10:30. Going to run to 204, I guess. This is something that she had left out in this initial interview with Snyder and Lewis. I
gotta be honest here. The prosecution is good. Because remember, in the beginning, I said I didn't believe she murdered Quentin. This motherfucker, in just an hour and a half, just opening statement has already convinced me to change my fucking mind. He's good. And I'm a hard sell. Remember, we're 2 years in, and I'm still like, Kohlberger's all right, he's getting off. Like, I'm a hard sell. I'm a hard motherfucker to change his mind. You got to show me some shit. He is.
They interview her again, this time.
He is.
And they want to ask her, what's the deal with this 204 thing? Here's what she tells them. Oh, yeah, that was a trip to the drug dealer, but it wasn't actually to buy it.
Oh, right. Oh.
She tells them the reason that she left the house.
This dumb bitch.
At 10:30 at night and went to the drug dealer. She was there for was simply to pay off a pre-existing drug debt in the United States.
Sonny Steve here with our dog as new username.
Yeah,
my teen daughter using the account. Not what real name.
But in addition to that,
hey, thank you, Oreo. Appreciate you.
and she'll later admit that this story wasn't true.
Thank you.
But here she is.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, and I was already heading back by the time that.
So at 10:40, you texted him that you were turning on 204 to meet him?
Yeah, like I'm turning on 204 now, like I'm about to meet him. That's what I was trying to tell him.
And at that point,
Oh, she's guilty as fuck.
I just came into him.
She's guilty as fuck. Body language never lies, man. She's guilty as fuck. Under 18, can't sign contract, can't quit school, can't drive, can't work yet. Yeah, I agree. I could just tell by her body language, man. You could tell, look, man. I can't be the only one that feels like if you're not looking at me, if me and you are having a conversation and you can't look me in my eyes, I automatically think you're lying. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I want you to see how her eyes are all over the place. And let me tell you another thing she was doing. You know when people are moving their legs back and forth and shit? It's a nervous tick. The body language, man. The body language. Exactly, Gigi.
Paying off a $20 debt, not actually buying drugs.
Yeah. This.
After all, she tells him, other than marijuana, I don't use drugs.
I'll get the fuck out of here.
See, you didn't get a book set. For that, you were after.
I just moved $20. And even if I didn't get a person, I'd be $35. Last time I asked him. I was 6 months ago.
Right.
I don't do this like that. Like, anything, anybody gotta worry about anything with me is on me. Because I was
You say guilty from the beginning.
everything else now.
There was no evidence, though. Here's the thing. There was no evidence, though. Remember, this is where I think a lot of these cases expose people, right? I'm not saying you, Teresa. I am an innocent until proven guilty guy. I treat every case like that. You see, I do it with Diddy. I do it with Kohlberger. I initially did it with Richard Allen. I did it with LEILANI Simon. I'm an innocent until proven guilty guy. There was no evidence. The only evidence was that she dumped the baby. Now I'm starting to see evidence come together. All I can say is I hope the Kohlberger case doesn't happen like this because shit. The way they're doing the prosecution is putting this together and telling the story, and it all makes sense. The prosecution, just an opening statement, is very believable. And we haven't even gotten to evidence yet. This is just their opening sales pitch. You know what I mean? If you're right about boyfriend making false sighting statement, then the case is Jennifer Soto lying about seeing Maddie. Yeah, it's that type of thing. I agree. Excuse me. Yeah. I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt.
Denial of the use of any drugs other than marijuana.
But I was wrong.
And the reason they're asking her whether she got a Percocet from the drug dealer that night is that they had seen some messages about buying Percocets as well. And they went,
Yeah, I agree.
and they asked her about that. What about these text messages with you? Look like you're buying Percocet, using Percocet. And her story at this time is, oh, those are for a friend. I'm just the middleman for my friend Cheyenne.
Yeah, the prosecutor's good, man.
But doesn't, I guess, know a dealer herself.
Things that you just have to answer for, so we have to get a better understanding as to, what went on. You know that you gave us an authorization to go through the text messages.
Look at her, she looks a little bit. Oh, she definitely retarded as fuck. She's definitely retarded as fuck. First thought NyQuil was involved, yeah. My initial thought process behind all this was that the stupid bitch was knocked out on dope and Quentin went out and walked in the swimming pool and drowned. That was my initial thought process. But it's because I also believed the initial statement that the door was open when she woke up. I will be first to admit right now, I'm looking completely wrong. I agreed that she disposed of the body, but I did not believe she killed the child. I feel like I was wrong. So far, she looks 100% guilty. If I was in that jury, I'm already writing the guilty down. I was wrong. Can't win them all, I guess. To be fair, though, we have not heard the defense yet. So I'm going to be fair, but right off the jump, day one, I feel like this is a slam dunk case for the prosecution so far. Slam dunk.
She does not want to talk about her drug use that night because that contributed directly to the state of mind that she was in.
Yeah.
It relates so closely to her killing Quentin. So she feels that she has to tell these lines. And she wants to focus on 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. because after all, this is an abduction. It's not as though I did anything in the middle of the night. My child was taken after Danny left for work. That's her story. That's what she's trying to sell. And again, she forcefully denies this.
No, I did not. I did not take a Percocet right now. This is not for you right now.
Right.
Now,
Lying bitch.
please follow up. Okay. At October 5th, they get statements from the defendant, which is making all these claims that we talked about. You get a statement from Paul, they get a statement from Paul. And what you do, and this goes late into the night, eventually it's kind of time to stop on October 5th and wake up in the morning and follow up on some of this stuff. So she has said that she was at the Chevron getting Orajel from Misty, her former coworker. And so they go out and there are two real notable things that happen between the October 5th
Exactly, sweet and salty.
and the next interview. And one is that they do what they call a video canvas. They go out to this Chevron area.
Bingo, Pixie.
It's said that this Orajel exchange happened. And they look around and they see if they see any cameras. They go in and they ask if there's footage. They get footage,
Man.
Chevron, and it does not show her stopping there. In fact, it shows her driving by. And they get footage from Azalea next door. And this is a major break in the case because what the Azalea footage shows.
Yeah, she did. It does not look good for her, man.
Doing a loop around the complex.
At all.
The dumpsters and sitting there for about 2 minutes. And that's when she throws Quentin's body away. So you're going to hear in detail about the footage from Azalea, the different cameras and camera angles and what you can see on which one. But this is just a sample of it.
Where's she at? What is this?
This is her driving in the Dodge Journey. On a mission to throw away her dead child.
Oh! This bitch got caught on the motherfucking camera.
So that's one notable item that leads into the next.
This dumb bitch.
Is that they go talk to Misty Gray. The defendant's calling her Misty on the first night. She doesn't even get her name right. But she describes her as a former co-worker at Bojangles.
Bojangles got some good shit. That Bojangles chicken is nice.
You know, whether he can direct him to this person.
Her leaving out. Yeah, man, she's done, man. Prosecutors nailed it. They've got her. They've got her.
The defendant twice. And she tells him, I haven't seen the weapons.
Bro, I bet you they got the murder weapon. I bet you they got the murder weapon. Like one of those objects from in the house, I bet you she struck her in, I bet you. And that's going to be the icing on the cake. When they start going through evidence, I don't know, man. This is going to be wild. I got to piss again.
The last time that I saw her was when she ran it. It was like in July of 2022, months before what we're talking about. The defendant had run out of gas near Missy's house, had walked to Missy's house, and had borrowed a gas can. And their last contact was Missy texting her a few times, saying, hey, can I get that gas can back? And that was it. And that was months before. And Special Agent Snyder looked at these messages and they corroborate what Missy is telling him. So, Chevron story The Met Missy at Chevron story is now just completely torpedoed. And so they bring her in for another interview on October 8th, and this one is with an FBI agent named Bridget Brock, and it's conducted at the FBI office in Savannah. And they confront her with these two findings. One, the security footage from Azalea and from Chevron. And two, what Missy has told them. And she just sticks to the Orgel story and just insists that it is true. And this is what that sounded like. She just hasn't had time yet to figure out how she's going to play this with this new information that they're presenting her with.
We'll talk about that, okay? Because Misty hadn't talked to you.
Yeah, she has.
She hasn't talked to you in quite some time.
Yeah, she
And
has.
she did not have a conversation with you about the ordeal.
Yes.
So in your mind, you've looked at all these timestamps and plausibly you came up with a story that's partly true.
No, that is
But
true.
there's very, very many missing pieces, right? And in your story, you haven't been completely honest about where you were at and why you were
I
there.
was 100% honest about where I was at. I showed the Life 360. I told my to give him the Orgel that she gave me.
Right, and that didn't happen. We've already interviewed this.
That I got the Orgel. That did happen. She had that load inside of her mouth. That's the reason why I asked her for it.
You have to stop saying this. It did not happen.
Yes, it did.
So that's the story on October 8th, sticking to her guns. Now, October 12th, she comes in for another interview. And this is with Brad Snyder, who I've talked about already, who you've heard a little bit from and seen a little bit of, and an FBI agent named Savannah Solomon that he works with closely. And this is at the FBI office. And this is a long interview. I've pared it down a little bit so we don't have to spend 3 hours watching it during the trial, but it's still fairly long. And initially, at least, she's sticking to the Orgel story. That's Savannah Solomon on the left, Snyder on the right, and the defendant in the middle.
And I did. Yeah, I did.
I did meet Misty, 100%. It happened. I'm telling you. And she tells this kind of flowery story describing this meeting. She lavishes them with details about how this went down.
So you went to Missy's house, and did you go inside her house? She was just standing outside.
Yeah, that's not like I really took
How long did y'all interact there with Missy? How long were you there?
2-3 minutes. It was a quick little conversation. Everyone else from mouth.
Hey, let me give a shout out real quick to Son of a Beach. Shout out to Son of a Beach who sent $2. Thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate you, Son of a Beach.
Now she has Misty was smoking crack when she gave the defendant the Orgel. And
Misty was smoking crack.
Is when the defendant is lying and telling a story to cover something up that she did.
Objection, Your Honor, does come from opening statements. Mr. Dean.
Hey, yo, great.
Expects the evidence to show, not his interpretation.
The evidence will show that she added this detail to suggest a faulty memory on Misty's part. To suggest that, maybe this will help explain why Misty is telling him she hadn't seen it. I mean, it is nothing to her to just accuse Missy of having smoked crack during this meeting that didn't happen. But in any case, a few minutes later, she finally admits that she didn't see Misty.
That's a good thing.
Marion, there's a few people in here that's mentioned Casey Anthony. It doesn't remind me of it. I don't see, the thing about the jail thing, a lot of people are like, prison justice. I'm gonna be honest, man. It doesn't happen as often as you guys think it does, man. You know? There are some things, like killing your kid is possibly one of them. Now, child molesters usually get fucked up. That's why they put them usually in their cell with other child molesters. Someone like this, there may not be prison justice for her. Because you got to think of something. In a female population in prison, a lot of them bitches are in there for drugs and failure to be mothers. You see what I'm saying? So, like, just being honest. She might get it, though. She might get it.
So after insisting on the 5th, she met Misty at the
If I was locked, they would.
And after insisting on the 8th that was the truth, and after insisting even at the outset of this
Yeah, it could happen. It can happen.
that it was true, she finally admits that it wasn't true and massages the inconsistency by saying, you know, I didn't speak to her, but I did go there with the text.
If she gets life and goes to maximum security with other killers that's doing life, it's possible. But for the same reason nobody's killing her in jail. People ain't trying to get more time. I'm going to be honest with you, man. Most of the time, people don't care what you've done. In jail, people only care if you're a snitch, if you're on someone else's paperwork, or if you diddled kids. I'm just saying, in general, most people will know not to even ask you what you've done. It's just not. It's not jail etiquette to be like, "What are you in for, man?" That's shit on television. It's horrible jail etiquette to ask someone about their case. That can get you killed. Just asking someone about their case can get you killed. That's the truth.
And she adds a detail that hasn't been included in any of her stories to date. Oh, and by the way, yeah, you've asked me if I threw any trash away there. Yeah, I did throw some trash.
I know I ain't about to go to the hole for no other motherfucker's case.
Stories for what that trash was.
I ain't about to get more time.
Evidence will show she did not want to admit
Pedos do.
it was Quentin's body.
The bad news about pedos is pedos usually get sent to the same facilities. When I was in, all right, you guys know, I was in Westfield Correctional Facility, the same place they put Richard Allen. Then I went to Wabash. The place for pedos in Indiana was Miami Grissom Air Force Base and the farm. Those two is where all the pedos went. You didn't see pedos in facilities with violent offenders. It just wasn't the case. So they tried to protect pedos by putting them with other pedos. Pedos ain't gonna kill another motherfucker for being a pedo because he's a pedo too. You see what I'm saying? They classify people and they separate you based on classification. And you know what I mean? Like I was always in what's called a gladiator dorm, which means you keep your shoes on. We were people level 2, level 3, level 4. We were people that had violent crimes. Unfortunately, you know, pedophilia is not considered that. I'm just being honest.
So she describes this trash that she threw away.
Yeah, of course, Chris Lynn.
Stinky shrimp pasta that had been sitting in the car in a trash bag and smelling out the car.
Exactly, contestant. Damn, Fox.
Shrimp pasta. Yeah. The whole car's like shrimp.
Now you gotta keep in mind though, if this girl is convicted of murder, she's going to go to a max facility with murderers. Now, you get some broad in there that's in there for life, and she maybe, you don't know what's in a chick's mind. Maybe this murderer chick has had 5 miscarriages. Do you see what I'm saying? Women are really iffy when it comes to kids, right? So you put LEILANI Simon in there with a killer bitch that's really a killer that wishes she had kids. Maybe she could never have kids. That's when LEILANI Simon is dead. When the chick has nothing to lose, she wanted kids. She's jealous LEILANI Simon had kids and then fucked the kids up. That is how you get exactly what you want, Contessa. That's where you might get what you want.
And they asked her about this. Gosh, this is the most critical fact in the case.
Yeah.
Throwing Quentin's body in the dumpster at Azalea, what she was doing at Azalea Mobile Home Plaza at 1:17 in the morning or so. And her explanation for that is, it's just such a minor thing, throwing away some trash. I didn't think to mention it in my hours of previous evidence.
Race matters too, believe it or not.
I really stopped. That was the only stop, but I didn't pick anything up. It's just,
She does look bored. She does.
Does not want to talk about what was in that trash bag.
Did they
also revisited.
They showed
You'll remember the strong denials on October 5th, which are repeated on October 8th.
What the
This
fuck?
October 12th interview, she admits finally that, I did take a Percocet that night.
Yeah, A. Percocet.
And you had Percocet in conjunction with smoking.
Yes. Was I take this? It's like at home. When I started to put my cigarette.
And been about what time would you have done that?
By the time I got home, I took it like 11 something or whatever.
Yeah, she is eating well.
And so Snyder asked
And cocaine.
about her changing story. You've been adamant that you met Misty for origin, and now you're finally admitting to us, I actually didn't speak to her. You've initially, over the course of 2 interviews, maybe more, didn't mention throwing trash away. And now you've got a very detailed account about doing that and what it was.
Yo, this is why I don't like public defenders. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about right here. Hold on. Let me pull this up here. I want to show y'all something, man. Let me just zoom in on something, just real quick. This is not a man that's gonna get you off. This is a dude he's like, we're fucked. We're fucked. I just want to get up out of here. This is not a man that's like, I can't wait for my turn. At all. At all. Keep your eye on his body language. I also bet him, I hear you there, Upgrade.
And you, on the fifth,
She's a dope fiend, so I would say he looks bored as ever. Yeah.
and now you're telling us that you did take a Percocet too. What's going on? Why is the story changing? And her explanation for that is,
Yeah.
well, my faulty...
He's just looking around. He's looking around at other things.
Which is a drug that had totally been absent from all of her practice.
He picks up his pen like he wants to write something.
The $80 cash app in the story about paying off a drug friend. And so she is explaining her inconsistent stories by adding another inconsistency, which is an admission to cocaine use.
Exactly.
Jurors have requested a short break, and that makes sense. Let's take a 10-minute break and resume with the opening statement. Mr. Dean, again, I'm going to ask you not to talk about the case, don't do any research about the case, avoid conversations about the case. The time now is about 11:29. Let's aim to be back here at 11:40. Okay?
All right, that's good because I think I was behind a little bit anyway. I think I was behind here anyway. Yeah. Oh, here we go. We're not going to miss nothing. Here we go. It's always good that I was behind a little bit because now we'll catch back up. Now we'll catch lazy hits. Yeah, you said you wanted to hit it. Yeah, that was back in the day though, Michael.
We are back on the order.
That was back in the day, Michael.
In SBCR 22-03364J6. Counsel for the defense is at the table with Ms. Simon. Counsel for the state, along with Detective Lemons, are at their table. We haven't yet brought the jurors back in. Is there anything that we need to take up before we bring the jurors back in?
Yeah, we're fine. Ain't no break going on here. We're back. Judge looking like a mother too. She's gonna, oh yeah. She's gonna get really fucked up with the female judge. %. She's gonna get fucked up with the female judge. Usually crazy bitches have the best pussy, but she looks like she's got some boring shit. She looks like one of them types that just lay there. I'm not bullshitting you at all. Both of them are public defenders. Both of them.
So for the record, the jurors are all back. They are being seated at this time. All right, all 16. Thank you. And Mr. Dean will...
She looks like she smells bad.
Opening statement.
So, October 12th, and we've come a long way.
Her mama's not there.
Fifth account. Only using her.
That's so crazy how fat she got. She didn't always look like that, man. She didn't always, like, when she first went in, she looked, well, she looked shitty in her damn, yeah, I guess she was kind of always fat. I guess she kind of always was fat. See, just, sir, you guys with these goddamn filters and shit, it's all voodoo. Like, she looks great right there. Extremely fuckable. There, she looks just as you know what, let me shut the fuck up. These two got the same thing going on with their face. Like that, yeah, like, yeah, man. Let me get back to the street.
That night. This is where we end up on October 12th.
Yeah, she just got real fat.
In this interview, she acknowledges that this wasn't like the one night.
Yeah.
She's a regular, which she had denied in earlier interviews. Now, at the end of the day, the most critical thing is what happened.
She's not on that model diet anymore. Good point.
And here is what she had to say about that.
Whoa! This dumb bitch! It's over. It's over. Game over. Period. That's it. What she just said, and it's over. She's not. She even said that exact statement in a news interview. If I would have done it, I'll take responsibility. If I find out later that I had done something, I'll take it. I'll take responsibility for it. That's all I needed to hear. She's fucked. She's guilty 100%. That's it. She's guilty as fuck.
I don't know if I did something, but if I did,
End of story.
responsibility.
End of it all. End of it all, right there.
Appears to be claiming something like that.
Yeah. Yes, Tracy.
And I'll tell you that the evidence that you'll see,
OJ wrote a book. If I had done it, we all know OJ killed them people.
is going to show that when she drove to those dumpsters, that Azalea threw his body.
Yeah, I don't know about Bruce Richards or whatever.
You see that she's
They probably didn't even need him. Yeah.
did stop signs. She used this for turn signal. You'll hear evidence that the investigators could tell from her phone.
I hear you there, Upgrade. It doesn't change the fact that he did it.
So
They have a solid case. Oh, yeah, they've convinced me already.
Of what she was doing when she took him there.
They won this case in the opening statement.
Claims to just not know what happened cannot be true. They do not fit with the other evidence. We've talked a lot about what she has been saying to the police and the FBI on the 5th, on the 8th, on the 12th. But we haven't talked much about the other aspect of the investigation, which is the effort to find Clinton, figure out exactly what happened to him. So I'll talk a little bit about that now. Now, on October 18th, police announced that they believe Quentin's body to be in a local landfill and that they're about to begin this extremely challenging
Yeah, this is.
haystack search of the landfill. And this is how they got there. A detective with the Chatham County Police Department goes out to the mobile home plaza once these dumpsters become an area of interest after they've looked at the security footage. And he asks what garbage truck company services these dumpsters, and they give him that information. He gets in touch with that garbage truck company, and he learns that it was truck 309, 3909, I should say, from a company called Waste Pro. This is the list of stops for that truck on that day. Serviced the mobile home plaza. This is on the morning of October 5th, actually. Quentin wasn't in the dumpster for very long because it was emptied that day. And this, what I'll tell you next, kind of goes to explain Quentin's condition when they ultimately found him.
Oh.
Not an intact body.
Oh.
Pieces, little bones. It's a front-loading garbage truck. Extends its hydraulic hose into the stocks inside. And drops Quentin and all the other garbage into the box in the back of the truck. There's a compactor in that truck that compacts everything. We want that compactor in there so that the truck doesn't have to go to the landfill as frequently. It makes the garbage smaller and take more garbage. That truck went to the Waste Management Superior Landfill on Little Neck Road on the morning of October 5th. This is a landfill ticket. They weigh the trucks when they're coming in. That's how they know how much to charge the garbage truck company. For this particular
Yeah, she's finished.
This is for Waste Pro truck 3909. And with this information, the detectives go out and they talk to the
Let me grab me a Pepsi.
landfill manager. He's able to identify the area that garbage was being dumped and then kind of shoved to on October to this kind of area. And then becomes the search area. So they have kind of an idea of the general box in the landfill of where equipment is found. this is still an extremely difficult thing. Even if you know the general area, there's like 2 more days of trash that has since been dumped there since the 5th. And this stuff gets compacted and moved around, and you drive these compactors over it, and have studded metal rollers, and everything just gets shredded. You get this idea that you go into the landfill and it's just like a pile of bags of trash, just like going in the garbage can. It is not like that. You will see that it is not like that. Everything is shredded because compaction is an end of things. You will hear that. You gotta get everything pressed down real tight because space is money.
Look at that bitch's face right now. Look at the way he's describing what happened to little Quentin's body. And look at this bitch. At any point is this bitch gonna actually, I mean, in the beginning of all of this, she was crying a little bit, but I think it was just because it was trial time and she's scared. She is literally hearing about her child being crunched up into pieces, and it's emotionless. That's wild, man. That's wild.
So, at the end of the day, they have
Look at her.
tons and tons
Look at her.
of garbage to search through. So they arrange the landfill search. They have some consultants
Yo.
from an outside agency come in and advise on this because it's a very technical thing. These consultants are able to tell them, based on the size of the box, about how many tons of trash they'll have to search through to exhaust the area. Based on known rates of searching, like pounds per day, we're able to give them an estimate of how many people this is going to take and how much time it's going to take.
Look at what's she looking at now? Oh, she's looking at the, now she's looking at her.
Gloves to put over the gloves. This is a biohazard environment. And they have to find volunteers. This is an all volunteer duty. Right? And for
Yeah, he's
weeks,
clean cut.
volunteers from the police department and from some other law enforcement agencies came out here early in the morning, and they do this landfill search that involves an excavator up in the search area, scooping up garbage, putting it in a dump truck.
Her defense better come strong as fuck. Strong as fuck.
Excavator down here kind of spreads the garbage, that particular load, I think they were calling them lines, out onto the search deck. And the law enforcement officers, these volunteers get online with rakes, and they just search through it. This is what that looks
Court defense will have their story. It's their job. Yeah, I know.
And they do this for days, weeks,
Doing yoga.
all that gear on. So I said earlier, these efforts can only be described as heroic. They want to find Quentin. The evidence will show that these things are not.
So look at his hands.
There's a very low success rate because again, it's a needle in a haystack proposition. That's what the police are doing
Yeah.
while she is playing games with investigators and changing her story and changing her story again.
Yeah, that bow tie game though was nice.
October 24th, while the landfill search is underway, and those volunteers are suffering in the heat out there, not knowing whether the next raid is going to bring more tedium and boredom, or if it's going to bring the horror of what they're actually looking for. The defendant is still
True. Sweet and salty, true.
having already admitted that she went to Azalea and threw away trash because only shrimp pasta. She does an interview with the news, WTOC,
It's really strange that you're named after my balls, by the way.
in which she, still, even at this late stage, this is October 24th, that's 19 days after
She already knew where he was, you're right.
the initial 911 call, and after several interviews where her story is
You're right. I mean,
cut to pieces.
it's almost like she didn't even try. Like she didn't even try at all
Still on that.
to get away with this.
And has the gall to make an appeal to the public to just please put it.
I say. Yeah, exactly.
The evidence will show that she knows he's not safe. She knows
That's
Where's Quentin? I'm running through the house. I ran and looked.
I knew that motherfucking interview was gonna come back to haunt you, bitch. I just mentioned it a second ago. Even the mom is looking like, ah, man, this bitch has lost it. God, she's got the biggest mouth. You see what I'm saying? Like, she's got a weird shaped mouth and it's huge.
Inside, outside.
It's the biggest mouth I've ever seen.
I've been here every day since this. I'm not running, and I'm not hiding. And it's
I agree, dog. I love her.
Yeah, I am my fault. I will take it.
Yeah, exactly, sweet.
Hello.
She said it again. I told you this was the interview where she said it. If something happens where I'm at fault, I can find out that I'm at fault, I'll take myself to the police station. No, innocent people don't say that shit. Baby, if something happens and we find out I cheated on you, I myself will tell you I cheated on you. But we gotta wait to see if anything comes out. You see what I'm saying? Makes no sense.
We want is justice for Queensland. We want
Well,
justice to it. We want answers.
We don't care the cost.
We want answers just like everybody else does. At the end of it all, we love you, baby Q.
right.
We want a monkey and we want a pet.
A monkey, huh?
That same day,
Exactly, contestant.
in which she's claiming to the news that had no idea what happened, and to just
Watch this.
she sends this text message to Savannah Sullivan of the FBI.
Look,
And this is just the latest Hail Mary.
she tried this bitch. I hope Georgia's a death penalty state. I hope this bitch. Oh! This bitch texted the FBI. Oh, man. She threw Danny. Oh, I hope this bitch gets a death penalty. Because as a stepfather, and I've been a stepfather a lot of times in my life, if a bitch did this to me, I can imagine the rage that would be in me. Watch this.
After all the statements about going to the Chevron and then going to Azalea,
She texted the FBI.
actually throwing away trash and not quitting. At this point, October 24th, the same day as that news interview, she and Danny are split at this point. He
They were split.
seems to see the writing on the wall for her, has left town, I believe, and I think they're not together at this point. And so now's the perfect time to try to put it on Danny.
Right.
I'm not lying for Danny anymore. The reason why my story about Oragel and shit didn't make sense was because Danny told me to say that he was the one who left. My phone was in the car from my previous trip. And the reason she says that is her phone GPS puts her at the dumpster. So
Right.
not just a video. So anyway, she's throwing it on Danny and is now saying, you know what, I didn't actually make that trip at all. It's him.
You see this cunt?
And they get her in for an interview a couple days later.
You see this cunt?
And they just sort of let her talk.
What the fuck?
The evidence will show that it's clearly not true. It was a desperate
Danny better turn states.
after a dozen lies to that point.
Oh, this is a horrible cunt.
That interview was on October 3rd.
Oh, this is a horrible cunt.
On November 18th,
Oh, she's done as fuck, Brian.
they started searching through that film. It was an arduous task.
I ain't gonna lie. This is the most convincing, and I've watched a lot of court cases. This is the most convincing opening statement I've ever seen. And it changed my entire perspective. Just in the less than 3 hours we've been doing this show. She couldn't have had her mom fooled for too long. I agree.
They finally
She's a
found
horrible liar.
November 18th. It's a memorable program for the people who were involved. Because they find Quentin. And he's not in good shape.
Nope.
And they find him in pieces.
Anyone knew here that if you record someone with their
It's not as though he's in one place.
I don't think that's true.
You're finding quotes, different lines.
Oh, what was this? Whoa! Whoa!
They sent Quentin's remains up to the FBI lab
Whoa! What the fuck did I just see?
where DNA analysis is done. And they confirm what everybody already knew, is that this is Quentin.
Oh, that was disgusting. Oh, that was fucked up.
And the defendant
And she's
came in
still not crying.
for one last interview.
Oh, that was fucked up. I don't remember hurting him at all. When I got home, I hit another line, I smoked a blunt and got in bed. On the way home, I didn't even understand why I was in the car. Didn't make sense. Oh, you were doing the I was high thing.
So that's where she ends up.
Oh,
After having given this very detailed cover story about going to
Oh,
the
she's
store
done.
to meet Misty for the ordeal.
she's so goddamn done.
Added this later, this richly detailed account of having thrown away some garbage and azalea in the dumpster, but it only being for pasta. Her final story, when they found
It was a drugs ally.
after tracing the trash and making it undeniable that what she was throwing away in that dumpster in Azalea was her son's body. The best she could do in her last interview is to claim a total and complete lack of memory from seeing him in his pack and play at 10-something to snapping back into consciousness on the way home from Azalea. And we'll watch it, you'll see more specifically what she says happened is that she was driving home, hit a set of railroad tracks, and that jolted her back into now forming memories.
Yeah, that's wild.
She ends up after those richly detailed accounts of false statements for what happened during that trip. Now, she just can't remember anything that happened during a critical time period in this case. The murder and the disposal of the body. So, that is as concisely as I can.
Exactly, Pixie.
Now, what happened and what the investigation, how the investigation looked like. What will the trial look like? Okay, so that's kind of the story, start to finish. What will the trial look like? Trial's not like an opening statement. All right, we bring witnesses in one at a time. It can be kind of disjointed and choppy because each individual comes in and they can only talk about really their role and what they did, heard, saw, that sort of thing. You will hear from some of the responding officers. You'll hear from people like Michelle McCartan, people in Quentin's life. He can tell you some things about how the defendant felt about Quentin.
Who said that's why he's doing yoga?
You'll
Yeah.
hear from the investigators who took these statements and followed up on them. You'll hear from some of the people who were involved in this search of the landfill. You'll hear from some of the scientists at Quantico who were tasked with identifying Quentin and seeing what they could make of these remains, which are just totally torn apart. What I do not expect you will hear is exactly how the defendant killed Quentin. And that's because she covered it up. It's because she got rid of the body. All right? The evidence will show that her specific intent from the outset was that he never be found at all. And him being found in pieces, little bitty pieces, was the next best thing. The judge will tell you that in a case like this, you do not have to prove exactly how the defendant killed Quentin. Under these circumstances, how could you? And that is a sensible rule. Because what we have to prove, what is important, is not exactly how she killed him, but that she killed him. The fact that she did it. And the evidence that we present to you will do that. It will do that, beyond a reasonable doubt. So at the end of the case, when all the evidence is in, we will make our closing arguments, and we will ask you to find her guilty of all of the charges in the indictment. I want to thank you for your attention. This has been a fairly long opening statement, but it was important to us, because it's our one chance to do it, is to give you kind of soup to nuts from the outset. What is this case about, and what did this investigation look like?
Yeah, it's wild. Agreed, Contessa.
Turn to the defense. Does the defense wish to make an opening statement?
I was going to say. Oh, this ought to be
Ladies
good.
and gentlemen, I don't intend to speak nearly as long as Mr. Dean,
Good.
because frankly, this whole case is about rumor, gossip, speculation, and innuendo, and ultimately, the state's bold conclusion
Ooh, I like
what they
him.
say happened but can't prove.
Well, this is going to be good.
Unquestionably, this is an emotional case. I know that. I have 5 children, 4 grandchildren. So I understand how emotional this can be. But this case can't be decided based on emotions. It has to be decided on facts
I do too
and
glad.
evidence presented in this courtroom. It can't be determined by emotions or their rumors and their gossip and their conclusions. In the end, what you will determine is that's exactly the foundation of the state's claims. Bunch of conclusions, bunch of declarations, unsupported by actual evidence. These declarations about she did this at 1 o'clock, she killed Quentin. She drove here, and then all of that are their conclusions, what they have decided the evidence shows.
I say.
But what is important in a trial is this witness stand, where witnesses testify, evidence is presented. It's not what some lawyer says. It's not what the state declares the evidence to be, and that includes this discussion about the statements. Mr. Dean has his ideas of what those statements represent, but that's your job.
I feel you,
It's
Mandy.
not to simply rely on the state's conclusions.
Hey, Mandy, how you doing, beautiful?
The state has a conclusion. The core conclusion is that LEILANI Marie Simon murdered her child. The evidence will simply not support that bold conclusion. That is why, after we've heard all the evidence and all the argument, the evidence will lead you to one place, and that is a finding with respect to murder and concealing the death of another of not guilty.
Oh, well, I declare. What's up, G-Man? That was it? That was it? Yo!
This would probably be a good time to break for lunch.
Yeah!
And then we'll resume testimony after the lunch break.
Motherfuckers!
So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a time for lunch break. It is, the time now is 12:10. We're going to ask that you report back at 1:20. We got to give some time for them to get to lunch and get back. Let's go ahead and make that 1:30. It's 12:15 now. Let's make it 1:30. Got to give some time. I want to be realistic.
That was wild.
Please remember not to discuss the case, not to do any research on the case, and not to talk with each other about the case. All right? And with that, you're excused.
That was it? I mean, obviously now it's lunch. They'll be back at 1:30. Yeah, that motherfucker. He threw in the towel quick. It might be, Mandy. Yeah, I would imagine it could be. We just sat there and listened. Oh man, prosecution's got him. That motherfucker went up. No, they're going to lunch right now, Pixie. But you'll get your bologna sandwich, you mother. Yeah. I don't know, but I expected a better attempt to defense than that. That was because the prosecution hit him with a 10 out of 10 opening statement. Oh man, he threw in the towel quick. He just came in and said, "This is all bullshit." And in the window. Can we go get lunch now? That's all he did. That's all he did. He gets paid. We go, yeah, I know. The 3 hours was too much. I can't even fucking fathom it. Oh, bro. So here's what we're going to do. They're coming back at 1:30. That's when I'm going to come back. I'm going to go ahead and end this portion of the stream. We will be back at 1:30, though. That's what? It's now 1 o'clock now, 12:57. Give you guys time to go get something to eat, something to drink, whatever. I don't even know what the fuck to say. Like that, I ain't never seen no shit like that. They just like, fuck it. Everybody's full of shit. This is bullshit. Rumors. What's for dinner? What's for lunch? I don't even, he knows his battle is uphill. Yeah. No, that's going to be rough. Look, man, I'm not rooting on her. But she deserved a little bit better of a defense than that. Like, what the fuck was that? He said, "I'll walk my dogs." Yeah, we will. Yeah, I'm not. We'll be back at 1:30. Son of a bitch. That's all I can say. He gets paid. Yeah, after all that, the prosecution brought that was a ridiculous failing of his. No, yeah. Like I right now, I'm not even. I don't even like LEILANI Simon. They've proven to me she's a killer. But that was the worst defense I've ever seen. That was the worst defensive opening statement I've ever seen. Collecting that easy check, yeah. Yeah, man. All right, guys, I will be back at 1:30 for part 2. I'll go ahead and set it up now. But we will be back. That way the chat room will be back up. I will be back at 1:30. See you then.